Here we go, Thursday night. You know, we keep crawling closer and closer into February, and I know a lot of you guys are excited about the games that are going to be announced for February, moving forward into March. January's got some great titles as well. We kind of went over that last week, but man, we had a great showing by Resident Evil 9 today, boy. We're going to talk about that first and foremost before we get into this week's topics, but I want to say shout out to everybody that's here. Please do hit that like button. It does unbelievable things for the channel. You don't realize it. You know, it's funny because I watch a lot of shows and I hear people say it. When people say it, then I go over and click the like button. People don't say it. I don't always go over and click the like button. But it really does seem to help the algorithm. So if you guys are listening now, listening later, please do it. Trust me, it does help the channel. I appreciate all you guys. I see Full Sweat Tryhard. He says, Mooch, congratulations on the coach hiring. Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, you don't get a coach and then think you're going to win a Super Bowl. That's just not how it kind of works. But we've had a couple of years where we did great. I think we made a couple of great moves in the draft. The problem is you need that new culture. You got to have that whole change of culture. And just being the Giants fan that I am, as you guys know, you know, we haven't had it since Tom Coughlin left. It really hasn't been the same. So all I'm hoping out of this, I'm not going to get too excited. I am excited, but not too excited. But it brings a different culture to the clubhouse, to ownership, to different views, the way people kind of, take the coach seriously. Except for Dable, we've had just a bunch of guys that were interim, trying stuff out. This guy might be good. This is a proven coach. Let's see what happens. So, guys, a little too excited to be in the mood for football for the Giants when we haven't even gotten to the Super Bowl this year yet. But nonetheless, let's not talk sports, okay? Let's not talk sports. Let's talk video games. I got an outstanding panel. As you can see, I already have some great guys with me right now. A few others are going to be joining us this hour and then a few on the second hour. So I'm looking forward to talking to those guys as well. But let's get into this fantastic panel right here. The great J-Dub City's with us. Jay, you know, you've had quite the busy schedule yourself lately. We even tried to organize a couple times a game. We're going to make that happen this weekend. But here you are on Crossfire, buddy. Lots to talk about. Gaming, the news, the industry, PC stuff too, which I know is really up your alley, Jay. But welcome back to Crossfire, buddy. How you doing tonight?
Doing good. Listen, it's great. It's a new year. It's great to be back on Crossfire. You know, we got the panel. They're gonna slowly trickle in.
That's right.
Got some new news this week. Not all of it is good, but you know, it's great for PlayStation, so that's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? We can doom and gloom PC and Xbox and Nintendo. But yeah, it's a new year. My Texans
yes, that's right.
Yeah, they've made one of my favorite coaches retire, and I think that's it for the Pittsburgh dream, and hopefully we can do the same thing to the Patriots, this weekend.
So this is going to be a great weekend for football. Not that I don't like the first weekend of playoff football, but I really like where we are right now. This is going to be a lot of fun. Jay, good luck to your Texans as well, buddy. And
thank you, man.
The great Slow-Mo Backslap is with us. Slow-Mo, here you are. You're able to make it. Long day of work, and you know who's not here? Your other resident down there in the Baltimore area, Coach, now known as, you guys know him formerly as Brap. Couldn't make it, but the great Slow-Mo Backslap said, you know what, Mooch, I'm there for you, buddy. Long day, still there to podcast, and we got DPS at 9 p.m. Eastern, don't forget as well. Slow-Mo, great to have you back on the show, especially with everything that's been going on over the last few weeks after the holiday. How you doing tonight?
You know, I'm not doing too bad. I do kind of feel like Jackson Dart running into a 300-pound defensive lineman for the fifth time in the game. But I do, I had to throw a shot out there because I'm a Commanders fan.
This is true.
Just allow some Giants praise. Praise what? You guys have in 2 years, you guys got a total of 5 wins.
5 wins.
John Harbaugh is going to need to go out there and actually catch some passes for you guys.
Right.
Your receivers don't even have ACLs anymore. So I just, we throw your slander, real quick. And then, this is nothing I can really say about the Texans.
He's like, nothing I can say about the Texans, really.
I can't think of nothing bad to say. They look good. I don't know. It matters to make it to the Super Bowl. Who knows, right? So anyway, look, I'm hating because my Commanders were a mash unit all year long, 22 starters on injured
It's true.
reserve.
It's true,
So,
man.
Maybe
that was
next year
wild.
it'll be better. To feel like Xbox taking L's the way they played.
No,
So,
low blow.
But it's what it is, But no. Going to be a good show as usual.
Always.
And I'm glad to be here. I'm going to get here for a short period of time because I got to, get everything ready for Damage Per Second podcast, DPS at 9. But, I'm here to talk some gaming.
Let us do that, Slow-Mo. And honestly, I'll put you in the hot seat first. Shout out real quick to T-Rock. Shout out to T-Rock. I see him out there. It's great to have him here as well. I see Glintzers here. King Scotto. Guys, please do hit the like button, tweet it out, let everybody know we're live here in New York. Slow-Mo, I'll go to you first here. And it's funny, we've talked, I know exactly how you feel, Slow-Mo, about first-person shooters, just shooters in general. I know that I love them, I know you love them. But the one thing I think you have a passion for, if you don't, listen, I have no problem being corrected here. But I thought, I don't know if you just got home from work, so you didn't get a chance to see it. We'll fill you in a little, but you saw the clips of RE9 already. What they did in the showcase today was very short. They didn't show a lot more. They showed some more of the mechanics. We'll talk a little bit about some of the pros and cons and what they're doing in the game. I think it's a lot of pros, very little cons. But Slow-Mo, are you excited for what you see? Because you have PS Plus and Game Pass that added Resident Evil Village as Resident Evil Requiem kind of looms. So they're trying to prepping everybody. They're doing a real good job here on the sales pitch, Slow-Mo. So are you excited for this game, or this is kind of I'll play it, but when I get to it? Where are you in the world of Resident Evil?
Excited? Absolutely not. I do not care about Resident Evil whatsoever.
Not at all.
I never cared about the franchise. Not at all. My favorite Resident Evil is Resident. Yeah, I'm about to make all the Resident Evil fans angry right now.
Yes,
My
you are.
favorite Resident Evil is 3 remake. Yeah, remake where they gave you like so much ammo that you couldn't even carry it everywhere. Like I was loving it. I'm mowing down, all the zombies is great. Nemesis doesn't even show up randomly like he did the original game. He just pops up, and cut scenes. I'm like, freaking perfect. That's my favorite Resident Evil. The rest of them, I'm not good. Look, like I like horror movies, horror games. Look, no, like when they be like, here's 3 shotgun shells, 2 pistol rounds, and a stick of gum. Figure it out. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna figure it out. I'm just not gonna play the game. So for me, it's not for me, but I do recognize that Resident Evil is quality. It's quality. It's a quality series with the majority of the games being exactly what people have been looking for. And I think Requiem's really, like from what I've seen, it's gonna nail it. At least I hope it does. Village being in Game Pass and PS Plus, that sounds awesome for y'all. Not for me, because I don't care. But for y'all, go jump in there, run through it again, have a great time. But for me, I'm good. I'm good over here. I'm not going to play it.
So and it's interesting because for some reason I could have swore that I saw you pick up. Maybe it's because you picked it up on sale, Slow-Mo. I thought you picked up Resident Evil 3 remake. I thought you were into that for some reason.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, 3 remake, man. Yeah,
I thought you were into it. I was going to say, because I thought I saw you online. I said, now, wait a minute. I said, I thought Slow-Mo was into this. Shout out to Jack Move Johnny. Shout out to Jack.
Yeah,
Jack goes, he says, entertain me while I'm in the gym. We're going to do our damnedest, Jack. We're going to do our damnedest with this week's news. Shout out to Jack, by the way. I've been doing a lot of streams with...
Shout out to Jack going to the gym. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Everybody need to get up in the gym, man.
Shout out to Jack for that. Shout out to Jack also. Can't wait till Jack's back on Twitch doing his thing again. He was doing some earlier, but I can't wait till he gets back on it. But Jack was listening. I was doing a lot of streaming with Blaze 4K, and shout out to Lazy Vibes as well. And Jack's been in the audience, and we even told Blaze, we're like, the first few weeks of January, it's slow news, So it's like Jack's like, entertain me while I'm at the gym. We're gonna do our damnedest, Jack. Trust me, I guarantee you, we're gonna do our damnedest right here. But shout out to JWJ. What do you think? Now listen, Slow-Mo caught me off guard a little bit with that, just because I don't. It's you almost have to give Slow-Mo an award for what he just did. Because what he said, I don't think many people in the gaming community will come out and say, you know what? Respect RE9, but you keep it. Where are you, Jay, on this? Are you excited?
I don't mind the award. I'll take it.
Yes, that is yours. That's Slow-Mo. You know damn well if you were to do 15 more podcasts this week, probably no one would say that.
It's very true, yeah.
Or very few, I should say. But, Jay, did you get a chance to see the showcase or no?
I didn't get a chance to see the showcase, but I've seen all the trailers.
You didn't miss. It was much like the trailers. They just added a little bit here and there. They talked about the difficulty. Yeah. They have a story, Jay. Just so you know, they have a story session, so you can go through, play it with aim assist. It's for folks that really don't want too much of a challenge. Then they have the actual hardest one that you can handle, which is where you get the what is it, the ink ribbon, and that's how you would save. And if you don't have that, well, you know what? You're up that creek without a paddle, buddy. So they give you those levels of difficulty. They mentioned that. They talked about the deluxe edition, which if you just go on Twitter right now, every other tweet is talking about the deluxe edition. It's 5 different skins for the different characters. You get a couple of things here and there. But nonetheless, what do you think, Jay? Are you there day one for this? Is this something that you kind of dig or no?
Listen, I'll tell you this. I've owned every single Resident Evil. And I'll tell you, once they started doing these remakes, from Resident Evil 7 to Resident Evil Village to the last one was Resident Evil 4. 4 or whatever.
Yep. 4 remake,
I'll be honest, man. I'm kind of tired. I'm kind of like pooped out of Resident. And I know some people might be like, oh, forget that. It's like only because it's like, man, okay, it's a great game and it's good, but man, it's like every year it seems like it's another one that's coming, and I really just don't think it's I don't know, man. On this game here, I don't know. It's not going to be a day one, but I might pick it up on a sale. And I don't think they've yet to confirm that it's going to have VR support.
From what I heard, it does not. At least it's not going to in February. Not. It's February 26th, 27th, something like that. It will not have VR support from what I hear on day one.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Don't they do VR like later for all the maybe not all of them, but I know they did Resident VR for 7, right?
7 Village.
Village had it at launch, I believe,
and 4 had it.
It did.
I believe 4. So.
Oh
man, listen, Slow-mo, listen.
It's the only one that I don't know if it had it at launch, but it has it now. So
right. So I just think it's coming eventually. It just may take like 6 months or so. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. So listen, especially with the internet, you got to be right when you say it. So I remember it with Village. I played it with Village. So all I can tell you is, Slow-mo, to answer your question without actually going through Google. And guys, where's Eric, the producer? Eric, could you please look it up and let me know? Eric said he wanted. I apologize, Eric. I didn't add you on Discord, but Eric, the producer, is always listening to the show. Eric, DM me on Twitter. Let me know. Was it day one? Slow-mo, to answer your question in short, before we talk a little bit more about it, is if it wasn't there day one, it was damn close. Damn close.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
All right, did they if like for the ones that weren't there at day one, did they at least announce, hey, so like VR's coming, and like let's say if it launched in October, it's coming in January, something like that. Like they at least gave you some kind of timetable that's coming. So they haven't done that at all with
on this game. No, not at all. And again, that's not a make or break for me. It's more of an additive. That may, while I'm kind of sitting on the fence, like, I'll just, I'll wait. It may push me to about a little bit earlier than I probably wouldn't. But but again, FOMO is a thing, and if I see a lot of people, being like, oh my God, this game is great, I love it, yada yada, then I might go ahead and just pick it up and.
Well, I'm kind of glad you said that, though, Jay, because when FOMO comes into play, especially in the community, we see things, it's online, everyone's excited about it. We're seeing posted game clips, right? You turn on your PS5 or Steam or wherever you're playing, Xbox, and you see your friends list, and you're like, oh, everyone's on RE9, maybe I should pick it up. But, me and Blaze were having this talk about, he's like, Mooch, we can't just be buying games just because, okay, we haven't had a new game in a while, I'm just going to pick up the newest, latest, and greatest, even if it's not something you're truly feeling. So I do have a lot of respect if you say if it's just not your bag or you're not feeling it right now, you'll pick it up later. There's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, you've got Neo 3 comes out, I think February 6th or 7th. Now, here's the thing. We only have so much sand in the hourglass, right, guys? I mean, Slow-mo, you were just saying it. You just got home from work. You're podcasting now. You're podcasting later. I mean, there's only so much time in the hourglass. You got family. You got stuff to do. I want to play Neo 3. How am I going to squeak that all in in
That's
2
true.
weeks and then get right into RE. And you know damn well, both of you guys know, and everybody in this chat knows, a lot of you guys see me online all the time. I'm playing Arc Raiders like the game's going to get, like, you know, delisted in a week. So I can't seem to put that game down. So anytime you guys are like, oh, let's play this game or let's get on this right now, you know what I mean? Shout out to Slow-Mo Backslap too. Give Slow-Mo more flowers. Slow-Mo came through on my one of my last streams with Blaze, and these guys were absolutely bashing Call of Duty. Slow-Mo's like, you know, easy, pump the brakes on the Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Can we just pump the brakes on that a little bit?
Hey man, look, it is what it is. Not everyone can enjoy COD gameplay. It is what it is.
I get it. I definitely get it. But yeah, you know, I think when it comes down to it, I wouldn't use the word fatigue when it comes to Resident Evil. This is kind of a pulls at the heartstrings. I watched this showcase.
Mooch.
Yeah.
Listen, Resident Evil, those games are great games, right? They're like flawless games. Like the graphics is great, the gameplay is great, it's very atmospheric. You know, everything is great. So I mean, I don't think people can really complain about Resident Evil. So I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying, you know, after you done played quite a few of them, you know, I just don't feel that sense of urgency to just run out and make sure I get a day one. That's what I'm saying, you know.
No, and that's fine. That's fine. Shout out real quick to Eric, the producer, guys. I just want you guys to know, Eric just handed me a note here. The great Eric, the producer. He says, Resident Evil Village VR mode launched as free DLC for PlayStation VR 2, PSVR 2 on February 22nd, 2023. Resident Evil Village launched on May 7th, 2021 for PlayStation 5. So it was not day one. Okay. And not even close. Why did that feel like it was a lot closer?
I don't know. It felt like it was, I know, right?
I don't know what to say. The only thing I can think of, though, is...
It could have been...
Well, wait a second.
Before the game dropped that it was coming.
When did PSVR 2 launch? That's probably the better question.
Yeah, that's
do you know what I'm saying, guys? Because what
it a year
maybe
after?
the reason we're confused on this is because it did launch day and date, but with PSVR 2.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? I remember having
PSVR
the headset
2 launched on February 22nd, 2023.
There it is. Yep. So it was day one for the PSVR 2, not day one Village. Just to clear things up for everybody. So, because I remember having the headset and I was like, oh, let me try this game. I have this game. So it was there. That's why I thought it was day one. But it wasn't day one on the launch of the game. So that may be a situation, guys, where it's going to be staggered. But Slow-Mo, you had something to say and I interrupted you. I apologize.
Oh, no, I was just like in regards to you two talking about like fatigue or somewhat some fatigue. And I could understand Jay may feel some of that, but it may be a minority opinion. Maybe not everyone feels fatigue from Resident Evil. But I've always on the outside looking in kind of looked at what Capcom was doing as like really a great achievement, considering at one point in time they were really kind of like close to facing bankruptcy or maybe needing to sell themselves as a publisher to someone else, and now they're doing fantastic. And a lot of that seemed to occur when they started doing the remakes of like, you know, the older Resident Evil games. And I kind of feel like, and maybe it's just me, but like some of the newer ones are kind of have a different vibe to them, like 7 did and Village, you know, their first person perspective, whereas the older ones are third person. So this kind of like they're trying to appease two different audiences, a newer audience that would rather play it in first person, or maybe they don't have the nostalgia of the older games that you guys do. But then there is the older generation that loved, you know, Resident Evil 2. So yeah, you're going to do a remake where it's not like the controls are way better, and yeah, I'm so. Go ahead and give me that, right? So like I think they're trying to appease both generations, and I think largely they've done a great job with that. I know I look like I saw someone say that they thought Village was bad. I've never heard that, really, honestly. I think most people I know enjoyed Village, but you know, me again looking on the outside, looking in on the outside, I kind of feel like Capcom's done a pretty good job. And although it seems like there's so many of them, when you really kind of think about it, when you're doing remakes of the older games and doing newer, additions to it. It does seem like there's a lot of them coming out, but they're actually kind of, they're not rushing them. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just kind of just doing what they need to do, and they're coming out at an appropriate period of time that would take to develop the kind of game and achieve that.
That's
vision.
a good point.
I just think it's fine.
That's a real good point. I mean, you got Village that came out in 2021. They're definitely not rushing it.
Yeah, I do. I do like that they alternate between the first person and the third person games. I do like that, but I think with Requiem you'll be able to choose third person or first person, right?
That's good. That's dope. That's
yes.
dope.
So I've
been saying this for the longest time. I think every game should do that now. I know it's additional work, and I know there's crunch, and there's there's probably some developer listening to this going, "You loser, you don't know what it takes, whatever." Right? But I feel like there are people who feel like first person is more immersive, and there are people who feel scary. Like third person is more immersive. And it's just like, do both. Yeah. Give people what they want. There are some people that are going to enjoy one perspective over the other. Like I played Outer Worlds 2 a few months ago. As soon as I switched to third person perspective, never went back. Yeah. So it's just like, for some people, it's your preference is what you want. But like, what would you rather do? Miss out on people? Like I literally saw a conversation last week where a bunch of Cyberpunk fans were cussing each other out on Twitter because one guy wanted a third person mode in Cyberpunk, and they're just like, "Oh, you can't do that. The immersion." I'm like, the dude's not immersed.
No,
he's not immersed in first person.
That's right.
Give him his third person. It doesn't hurt you that there is a different perspective to play the game. So I think hopefully with Requiem that works out great, and then because this is a copycat industry, more people will start doing it because it worked out great for them. Because I really kind of hope that really catches on.
Well, and I keep that in mind when we talk about that first and third person, not in the same retrospect, but I do want to, because I have some marathon gameplay up there, and I didn't put it as a topic, but it'll be a quick conversation. Remind me of that in a second, guys. But let me ask, shout out to Glinter. He says, what are the panel's top 3 RE games? Jay, what do you think? What are your top 3?
Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil. What would be my third? Maybe Resident Evil 2.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Slow mo.
Yeah, but
so you're going 1, 2, 5. You're going 1, 2, 1. You're going 1, 5, 2.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Slow mo.
I'm gonna say Resident Evil 3 remake 1. Resident Evil 1 just for the dogs that jumped out.
That's
and
correct.
Scared the crap
that
out
is
of me
correct.
when I was a kid.
And the spider.
That is correct.
Right.
Tarantula.
And then for the third one, I'll say just Resident Evil 5 for Shiva.
Okay, that's fair.
Shiva's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ride with you guys on a few of these. I'm gonna throw one out there that you guys did not, and it's just I don't know why. Maybe it's just because it hit the way it hit. I would definitely go in this order. For me, is I'm gonna get a lot of people aren't gonna like this in the chat. 7.
He's gonna say Nemesis.
Really?
715.
Okay.
I loved Biohazard, and I think, and I know it's the that first person, it took people back, and that's fine. I understand it, but the story, the way that I was just like, how the fuck they tying this shit in the first, you know what I mean? The first hour and a half I'm playing, I'm like, how are they tying this into the Resident Evil and Umbrella, and the way that they did it. Shout out to Frank. I believe it was Frank you killed in that thing. It was unbeatable, but beatable, however you want to look at it. I really liked what they did, and they changed the formula. And I think that when they deviate from, that's the one thing about Resident Evil that keeps me intrigued. And 9 is going back to that Resident Evil 4 formula, which tugs at a lot of people's heartstrings. I think a lot of people, I knew it. Jackknife in the chat goes, what? No 4? The drug test Mooch says, Steven. Listen, I understand. Listen, I played it through. Family was with me, and we were all enjoying it when that game came out. Then we did it in VR. It was the screams, the laughing. Yeah. I enjoyed the shit out of it. it's sometimes the memories. One, definitely because of the dogs, of course. That first time that zombie was eaten, it turned around and just had that face on him, and I just didn't see anything like that in a zombie game. You guys know I'm a zombie fanatic. Like, I'm actually waiting to hear. I didn't see a launch date, but World War Z has a DLC coming out this month. With The Walking Dead. I know you guys are probably all exhausted of it, but over the holiday, I've watched everything. I watched Plubris. I watched all the Fallouts. I watched this. I watched what people told me. It was great.
And then good too.
Right? And then I was like, what do? I went back and started watching Walking Dead. I got all the way up to like season 6. I love it. I love it, dude. Well, listen, it was on the background slow-mo. You know what I mean? I wasn't sitting there taking notes with a thing of popcorn. Yeah. But I mean, I've seen it before.
Background noise.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was just enjoying it, man. So I'm looking forward to even going back to that. That's how much into zombies I am with that whole thing. But yeah, I don't know. For some reason, it definitely holds a sentiment. Jackknife, the reason 4 didn't make it for me, and I'll ask the guys in a second. So one of the other things I did over the break was, playing Ghost of Yotai, and then I went and I was getting psyched for Resident Evil, and I knew Resident Evil 9 was going to use the 4 formula, so I went back to Resident Evil 4 Remake, and I started playing through that again, and I got well past halfway through it, and I'll probably try to, that's something I'm just picking away at while I'm you got an hour here or 2 hours there. I just feel like I played 4 so many times that, I don't know, it's... and that's why with 9, I'm excited that they're going back to a very fan favorite formula, what they're doing with Leon and the action, the combat, everything looks so good. But I will say the excitement level for me is I'm probably sitting at an excitement level of a 7 or 8 on excitement. I'm not grading the game. I'm talking about just excitement for it. Shout out to Babora Country. He says, any first person game that's not a shooter is trash. I want my character to do stuff. Not floating hands. Babor's here. The show can start. I appreciate that, Babor. Shout out to the great slow-mo backslap. 30 months. He says, hit that like button, you frauds. Guys, hit that like button. Let's go. 187 here. I know it's not the craziest news week, but if 187 of you hit that like button, let me tell you something. YouTube's going to go, that's one hell of a show. Go ahead, slow-mo. My fault.
Yeah, let me slightly disagree with Babor here. I do think that there are a lot of games where if they have melee combat in first person perspective, that it doesn't quite hit, it doesn't quite nail it. And I think there's sometimes when it comes to and I see this in the opposite direction when there's a first person perspective game that adds third person in there, and the animations are janky and stiff, and there's no motion matching. A character opens the door and it looks like it's a robot, they turn into a robot immediately to open the door. It's just when it's an afterthought is when it becomes not well done or executed well. I think, I mentioned Cyberpunk earlier. Cyberpunk in first person with the shooting stuff is fine, but a lot of the other methods of combat with quick hacks, like the cyber decks, I think the majority the people that play that game, the majority builds they have used have been melee focused builds with samurai swords, the throwing knives, using the Sandavista and the slowdown time. All that stuff it's really about how you execute it. And I feel if a developer builds on making sure that both perspectives get equal amount of time and are quality experiences from the very start, and not just hey, it looks like people want a third person perspective, let's just throw that in there. Don't do that.
Right.
Do it from the very start. Then you can really nail both experiences and make it enjoyable for everybody.
Yeah, I feel like when they throw the third person in, or in certain instances throw the first person in. Do you remember when we were playing PUBG? And then PUBG was like, hey, it was an add-on. I think years later they were like, we're going to do a first-person view. I felt it didn't work. And then you had Call of Duty try to do the third person. And I know some people that said they liked it and they enjoyed it, and I thought it worked decently. I really do. What was that? 2? I'm thinking that was 2. That was 2 Call of Duties ago, right?
It was 2.
2 back, right?
It was Modern Warfare 2. Yeah.
Yep. And it was okay, slow-mo, right? I think what's the word they use in the industry? It was not satisfactory. It was passable. I'll use it like that. but it didn't feel great.
It was no Rogue Company, but it was good. It was all right. It was all right. But it didn't catch on because as typical what they do with Call of Duty, if it's not, and you know this, Mooch, if it's not getting big numbers of people trying the mode out,
it's out.
They give it a good couple of months before they go ahead and just pull that out.
Pull it.
Just like, why waste our time, and our resources on this when we don't have enough bodies that are actually playing it, and that happened to the third person mode very quickly. I think it was like a few weeks. It was gone. So yeah, man, like you just gotta time in making sure it's a quality experience. Make sure that you got people who understand what the people who prefer those perspectives actually are looking for, to kind of know. And yeah, like floating hands, like that's not funny. Like, look, I know a lot of people like Indiana Jones. And some people are mad at me, but like as soon as I saw Indy's arms just sticking from bottom of the screen doing uppercuts, I was like, no.
Thank you.
No, I'm not playing this now.
It just did not feel right. It did not feel right. There was something about that game. It was also the pacing. I know people said to me, Mooch, you didn't play it long enough. That's fair. Never, I guess you really shouldn't be able to judge a game by 4 hours, 5 hours. And I didn't get very far in Indiana Jones. It didn't feel good with the mechanics and the story in the beginning with the whole thing with the Vatican and walking around and taking pictures and trying to climb, and the platforming was horrible. To me, it just didn't set, but others loved it, and I'm glad they did. But Bork comes back, he says, and he's talking to all of us here. He says, imagine Kratos and Nathan Drake first person. Trash point of view. I don't want to be in Jin Sakai. I want to see what happens all around him. So he's saying that's not immersion when it's just the hands. I mean, I think you kind of answered this, Slow-Mo, sense. It depends on how the game is built, right? Versus forcing a third or first person on you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then like I've seen people who feel like, and I talk to gamers who say this all the time. I've had these arguments, on the opposite perspective, where they feel like it's not immersion to them if they're not like potentially seeing it from their own eyes. Like they need that first person perspective to feel like they are that character, or however they want to go about it. But it's just really about like what people enjoy. Like immersion really is very subjective. It's about what really gets you into the game to make you forget that you're playing a game, or make you really forget that, like, well, someone wrote this character and these are pixels on the screen, the kind of thing, right? That's immersion. And when you can build that and create massive, very in-depth worlds and great experiences, the perspective does matter, but it's just about how you execute it in a way that you make it so that people really lose the whole I'm playing the video game idea. And someone in the chat said that they think Cyberpunk is better or should be just first person only. And look, I get that perspective because you look at like Night City and it's just so deep. Like the city's alive, and going into certain areas where like you see that, like especially if you're playing on PC, like the path tracing is popping like crazy, and you see all kinds of weird people with cybernetics and whatnot. And it's just, I've seen people say that, like, I can't imagine that in third person perspective. And so I get it. I understand. But it's just, I'm always of the mind that you want to give people what they want. And if you got like a large percentage of people who want a third person perspective, why deny them that? And if you provide that, it doesn't take anything away from the person who enjoys the first person perspective, or vice versa. Choose your own perspective and have fun. It's not hurting nobody.
That's right. I do want to say when they do take the time, sometimes this is going to be interesting, and I'm not going to judge RE9 right now. I'm going to wait, but there's been other games where you can flip from third person to first person, and you can clearly see that the game was developed with one in mind, and the other one's there to satisfy to everybody. And just to give the option, we're in the generation of options. Everybody wants a million options. Sometimes it feels forced. Shout out to Donnell Brown, who Slow-Mo Backslap knows all too well. He says, Washington Commanders, New York Giants, both trash. Shout out to Donnell Brown over there. Him and his Las Vegas. His Las Vegas, I think he's a Raiders fan.
A Raiders?
I'm almost positive he's a Raiders fan. Donnell, listen, he must have had a couple of bourbons before the show.
He must have.
Shout out to the great Nib who's joined us. Nib's here with us, buddy. Well, let me ask this question here. Nib, we won't change. We were talking about RE9, but I did want to get, because I only have Slow-Mo till, well, I'm going to try and keep him here for the entire show. You know how I do it. But, Slow-Mo, one of the things I wanted to ask you, because we were talking third person, first person, and me and J-Dub played a lot of ARC Raiders. Again, I've been streaming a lot of it over on Twitch, enjoying it. Third person, a lot of people saying a lot of SOCOM vibes, in the sense of that the way, not saying the games are the same by no means, but just the feel of the character and the way the mechanics are. But Slow-Mo, me and you coming from that Call of Duty, we like that quick-paced first-person shooter, Twitch shooter type of thing. Do you feel that yourself and a lot of Destiny players are going to gravitate to the fact that Marathon is giving you a lot of what is in the extraction shooter? And listen, they've definitely inherited a lot of things that Embark did. I think when they went back to the drawing board, they went back and changed a lot of things, more than just the graphics or the color palette, okay? I think they added a lot of things they didn't have before. Do you think, Slow-Mo, having that first person and the way that mechanic is going to play out is going to grab an entirely different audience that may be attracted to extraction shooters? Or no, you still feel strong enough that Marathon's probably going to miss?
I still kind of mostly think Marathon's going to miss. I do think that I do kind of agree with you that first person perspective could definitely attract a number of people who just prefer playing in first person shooters. And and Bungie's good at gunplay. They're good at first person gunplay. So that part aspect should be pretty solid. I do kind of feel like, and this is just my opinion, but I feel like if Marathon is to be successful, it really needs to outshine ARC Raiders when it comes to PvP. Like, it really needs to nail that aspect of it. And I think that's something that they could really kind of in their corner say, hey, look, ARC Raiders may have us in all these other areas, but at least we got them here.
Right.
And considering that they're both going to be the same price, and now you kind of like, we're starting to see people who didn't typically play extraction shooters starting to get into extraction shooters now. So maybe you might actually have a bigger audience on consoles now that are willing to give it a shot, when maybe a year or two ago they weren't even, an extraction shooter wasn't even on their radar. So I kind of just feel like they just need to make sure that Marathon has something, a feather in their hat, that ARC Raiders doesn't have and probably won't have based upon the design of the game.
I think the first thing they should focus on with that, because think about it, they might have some kind of a mechanic or a function that Embark didn't think of, but the one thing that they can do is lore, right? And I mean, that goes a long way with certain things. That's why I said the Destiny players, and there's a lot of Destiny players out there, some of them disgruntled, some of them not so happy with the way things worked out at the end, but I think a lot of them may gravitate to that and give it a shot. And you made a really good point. If Marathon came out a year ago before... it's not. I say this on the show all the time. A buddy of mine was in the IT business, and I'm going back to like 2005, 2006. He told me, he's like, it's not who gets there first, it's who does it best. So what Embark did was they opened the door and got so many people involved in playing this type of game and enjoying that type of game, where Helldivers did a good job, but the fact that it was just PvE didn't really openly explore everything that the extraction shooter can do. I think Embark really, really embellished on that and took advantage. Good on them. Outstanding. I love ARC. But I think that Bungie and Marathon can bring a different element in lore. And yes, they do have to have one thing, at least one thing that separates them from ARC. Copying a few ideas they had, or I'll give you an example. You guys saw I don't know if all you saw it, I watched it. When you see a down raider in ARC, that raider could have died 5 seconds ago or 15 minutes ago. And that gravely changes the idea of what your surrounding is. In Marathon now, when you see a downed, whatever they're going to call it, downed, let's just call it raider in that sense. If the body's still fully intact, it's fresh. If you see the loot there, the loot bag or whatever they're going to call it, on a puddle of whatever ooze is there, that means that fight occurred quite some time ago. That's another thing that just gives you, it's a different way of how you're going to navigate the world. You know what I mean? And know your surroundings. So they're doing certain things to change it slightly. I don't know if that's enough. I think they need more than that. But that's kind of where I am with that. J-Dub, what do you think, Jay? Because you've put enough hours into ARC to where you definitely can be a critique on something like Marathon. The one thing I'm hearing that's a big negative on Marathon, Jay, is the UI. And I heard, the stash can be, I wouldn't use the word confusing, but it can be cumbersome for early adapters to ARC Raiders, the stash. I heard the stash and what you collect going into Marathon is worse. It's even more cumbersome.
Well, I got into the latest beta, and it had an NDA on it. So NDA.
So you can't say nothing. No, that's right. Don't talk about the game.
Well,
I just wanted to see what your thoughts. I mean, is it something that you still think you're going to try on opening beta weekend or whatever they're going to call it?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm going to try it. Now, keep in mind, I didn't get into the previous. I didn't get into the previous betas. So this was my first experience on playing it, and I think it was last month.
Okay.
And I enjoyed the little time that I had with it, but obviously there's nothing like being able to play with the crew. And
Understood.
So I'm looking forward to being able to, play with you and the rest of the gang
absolutely
to get it, because those shooters, man, they live and survive based on groups of people playing them, and it's just like ARC Raiders. Yeah, you can play it by yourself, but there's nothing like playing with your friends.
I agree.
The game lives and breeds, with groups of people playing together. So, one thing I will say, this game has a lot going against it because of what happened with Concord. People were already against it, down on it, and stuff like that. It's and then a lot of people don't like Bungie right now, and so it has a lot of stuff going against it. But I'm a firm believer. It doesn't have to be the best shooter out there. It doesn't have to be the best game out there. It just needs to be in the conversation, because they can, if they support it over time, games can get better and they can fix whatever, or they can, change things to fit whatever they think that gamers are looking for and asking. And so I think that capability is there. Will everybody drop Call of Duty and ARC Raiders? I don't think they will, but that's up to Bungie. That's up to them to sell us on this game and make it where we take some of that time away from ARC Raiders and COD and Battlefield and other games that have that's the whole thing about these games as a service games is you only have so much amount of time in a day. And in a week and in a month. And so, you have to juggle this. Like right now, you play ARC Raiders, you still jump back on COD from time to time, and then on Battlefield.
And then you're supposed to get into Marathon, and you're supposed to play Neo 3, and then you're supposed to get ready for Resident Evil 9. We could sit here on the podcast and say, I'm here for all of it. And that doesn't mean you won't pick it up or pick it up on a sale, but it doesn't mean that you're able to actually put the controller down to move on to another game, to move on to another game, to move on to another game. It's not realistic. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And from what I understand, and I don't know how true the reporting is these days with these publications, but there was like 80% of Battlefield players left. And it all goes back to what I said originally. Just because you take time away from your current game and play another game and put time in there, you may put a week or two, you may maybe even a month. Most people are going to retreat back to their game. Like, for example, no matter how much time I put into ARC Raiders, I retreated back to Helldivers, because to me that's my number one game. But and I didn't mind taking a week or two away, or playing it from time to time.
Yeah.
And then, but once it's all settled, I always retreat back. And I think most gamers are like that.
Yes.
So it's just how much piece of that pie can they get in the meantime? And so if they can stay in the conversation, I think they'll be okay. They don't have to be millions of people day one playing it, and I don't think they're going to get millions of people day one playing it, because it's not like a Battlefield or a COD.
Yeah.
But if they can remain relevant and be in that conversation to where it's like, hey, let's jump on. Then I think they could work on the rest. But we'll see. Based on what I played, the graphics were amazing. And according to other people, again, I didn't play the previous betas, So, but,
and your NDA, they're not going to let your NDA brings you up probably to opening weekend, doesn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, they're not going to let you talk early, or at least not before reviewers can talk. You're probably same time as reviewers.
Now, here's the thing, right? I don't get into many of the NDA and the closed betas and stuff like that, but I assumed it was just again, I never read that shit, right? I was like, okay, I can't post footage, right? I can't post footage because this certain code that is kind of linked to me is on the screen. They would be able to see it.
Of course.
But they don't know me. I'm not tied, J-Dub isn't tied to that particular profile. So I don't think they're sitting here watching Mooch's podcast and say, yeah, let's go track down this guy.
You didn't know Bungie tunes in weekly. Yeah, so be careful, Jay. I don't want you to get in trouble.
I know, right?
Well, the one word you said was capability. Jay, you said capability, and the one thing I'll ask. I think you set it up perfectly because it all kind of comes together perfectly. Shout out to Super Hemi? He says I'm in there day one. Looks way more interesting. Shout out to you, man. I'll be there too. I'm really gonna give it that shot, especially that opening weekend. Nib, I see you're muted. I do have a question for you because Jay said, that's okay.
It's an interesting thing, but you just fired off like so many games that people are playing right now, right?
Well, that's it, right? Go ahead.
It's kind of like even harder for Marathon today than it would be, even a few years ago. So it's not just are they doing something new enough to, it's can they cut through what is significantly stronger competition? Because this year, like even the top dog struggled, right? Even Call of Duty is down in number 7 on PSN downloads in the EU and the United States. Number 7. Last year it was number 1 and 2. The year before it was number 1 and 2. So, it's that's quite a significant drop off. Battlefield's taking its place. ARC Raiders in the top 10, and I think top 12 in the EU.
That's right.
Yeah, and then there's other games that have come, Marvel Rivals and stuff, which are not in the sales but in engagement. There's just a lot of new titles coming, and then you'll have other sort of live service games that are not in the same genre but still vying for people's time. The Marvels, Pokemon, and there's other games. I don't know. It just feels like this particular period, like I said, is going to be significantly even harder. So it's not even just a question of you have the quality now, but competing with.
Well, there is, and I'm glad you said that. We mentioned a lot of games, but we
got Fortnite, which is Fortnite's always really been the top dog. Like even
it's a good point.
Like since 2017, 2018.
Yeah, nobody wants to talk about it, but you're right.
Yeah, everyone else is kind of vying for second place.
That's true.
Yeah. And I will say, like, I know, again, it's a very different genre, and most people will say, it's never going to converge. But at least a small portion of people will. Even things like Forza Horizon 6, when it comes to PS5, I think it will do really well. Like, Forza Horizon 5 has done really, really well, especially in the EU. I think it's like the 4th most purchased game.
That's the racing capital. Yeah.
That's the racing capital. Yeah, exactly. We love racing games because we have good taste. But I will say, look, I know the Americans will hate me for this, but when I look at the EU list of games, I'm like, we got a better taste than them. Because we've got Clair Obscur at, I think it was number 9, and on the American list, it's like number 18. And then Split Fiction is there, I think number 12, and it's not on the American list. And I'm like, come on, those games deserve to be higher up in these sales.
Yeah, but it's America. It's the number one game. It's going to be a sports game, or it's going to be a shooter. Like it's
not just that, but it's what in America. Gamers, in America, though, in America, it's just like sports. And you can't talk sports on a gaming podcast. But Nib, it's what have you done for me lately, right? So. America's like, okay, we played through Expedition 33. We tip our cap. We agree with you. Next, and it's like everyone just kind of, and like Jay said it himself. Jay's like, I enjoy this. But then what did he do? He went back to his old haunt in Helldivers too, right? So it doesn't quite fit the formula, but we'll play what we play and then we kind of move on. Nib, you will go and you'll conquer a game. You will absolutely decimate a game too. And it's not about platinum either, but you will play it until you are damn well done. Trophies aside. And that's one thing, getting to know you. Another game we don't talk about is Code Vein 2 comes out end of January. And I think that Go ahead.
You know, one thing I will say though, like looking at the top PSN purchases of 2025, it is quite interesting because even though we do have like the big multiplayer, time-consuming tentpole games that are kind of purchased not necessarily, just based on the high quality, but you know the fact that you can play them with your friends, they're what you know. It's like comfort food, right? It's like a fast food chain almost. But there are still a lot of really high quality games. Even the fact that of all of Xbox's releases on PlayStation, Forza Horizon 5 is the one that is doing the best. And I've been on this show and I've said many times, I think Forza Horizon is easily Microsoft's best franchise. I've said it's the highest quality franchise that they make. I'm not saying, I told you so, but it's just cool that that is reflected in sales. It's cool to me that, Ghost of Yote is up there, and Split Fiction and Claire Obscure, and these are really high quality games. So it's not just the sports stuff, and it's not just the shooters that are up there. There are other, even the evergreen titles that are up there are actually games. GTA 5 is a great game. Minecraft is a solid game for the kind of genre that it is. And I think I saw It Takes Two up there on the EU list as well. I assume there was a sale or something, but either way, fantastic game. So that was cool. That was warming to see, and it kind of signals to me that if you make a high quality game, the market will be there for you. The only really disappointing omission for me on that list, of the expected games, is the fact that Death Stranding 2 isn't on there. So as much as Ghost of Yote did really well, in 2-3 months of sales, it's like, I think it's number 9 in the United States, and it was number 12, I think, or 11 in the EU. For just 3 months of sales, that's amazing. And I know, obviously, in the EU, Forza Horizon 5 did better than it, but keep in mind, Forza Horizon 5 did launch right in the beginning of the year, whereas Ghost of Yote was near. So that was great. But yeah, the biggest omission for me is the fact that Death Stranding 2 wasn't there. Like, I think you have to be honest and admit that was a disappointing commercial.
Well, I think it probably was, but I mean, if you think about it, listen, the game is gorgeous. I'm a big Norman Reedus fan. We already talked Walking Dead, so we're not going to bore the audience with that. He'll forever be Daryl. But my point being is, that's an acquired taste, though, Nib. It's a slow burn. But go ahead.
The thing is, I agree with you, but the sad thing is, Death Stranding 2 is so much less of an acquired taste than Death Stranding 1. But I almost think Death Stranding 1 already split the niche that was interested in it. And Death Stranding 2, it just couldn't overcome that, because you're right, being sort of like a delivery strategy sim just clearly does not appeal to the masses in that way. They want more action, they want more whatever and even having Kojima behind it, and even having the PlayStation marketing and all these stars and and stuff, like actual famous Hollywood actors, isn't enough to override that.
That's right.
And it is a shame, because I feel like people who may have tried DS1 and not enjoyed it as much would have probably enjoyed DS2 a lot more. The design of it, the pacing, the amount of action in it, the set pieces, the spectacle, everything is more geared towards being a more broader interest game. But unfortunately, the first one set the stamp.
Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, that is probably one of my biggest pet peeves, right? Is that what gamers ask for when you finally, you give it to them, and then it's not received well, or it's not received like you think it would be received.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a firm believer in developers. Just make the game you want to make, and let the gamer, if they want it, they want it. If they don't, they don't. Because if you try to make a game that's for these people based on their feedback and what they want, gamers don't know what the hell they want. They say what they want, but when it comes to spending money on that, they won't. It'll be the opposite thing that you think that they would want is where they spending all their money, right? Like, gamers they'll cry and scream, I don't like games as a service games. I'm tired of this stuff. But the top played games in the world are games as a service games. That's why.
But Jay, that's because the people that's complaining ain't the ones that's like the people who play Fortnite for the most part. They don't even know what a Death Stranding is.
That's
like,
right.
They have no idea.
Right.
Like they play Fortnite, they play Roblox, they play Call of Duty, and 2K, and that's it. That's all. That's all the gaming they really do. And so when Nip was talking about like him believing that Death Stranding 1 being so polarizing, some people being so disappointed with how the game turned out, led into them not even giving Death Stranding 2 a shot, and maybe Death Stranding 2 would have been exactly what they had been looking for. It reminded me of, remember Watch Dogs 1? And remember how everyone, like Ubisoft first showed it off, everyone was like, wow, that looks amazing. And then we actually got the game, and it was like, yo, that's not it. That's not what you showed. You hit me with the okie doke. So the game sold really well, but and immediately Ubisoft went ahead and did it and approved of a sequel. And they looked at all the complaints of the game, and Watch Dogs 2 is a far superior game in every single way. But that game sold so much less than Watch Dogs 1. And it's because a lot of people, as soon as you said before you could finish Dogs, they had already tuned out. I don't care what it is. Watch Dogs 1 was garbage. This is probably garbage. I don't care. And so it just really kind of like people just turn their brains off and they say, I'm not even going to bother. And you're already kind of fighting for a very small percentage of the gaming community that will actually not just play the popular stuff. And so when you're fighting for that little pie, I almost kind of feel like I think now when games are disappointing, they just like a new IP is disappointing, they just shut the studio down, don't even attempt the IP again, because they feel like even if we make double the quality of what that previous game was, no one's going to buy it. So it's just they don't even bother.
Death Stranding 1 sold over 20 million copies, right? Just that first game, the game that everybody, it's a walking simulator, it's a FedEx simulator, blah blah blah. It's over 20 million copies, and I think Death Stranding 2, even though we don't know how many it sold thus far, they said that it sold around 1.5 million in its first month. So it launched in June. So that month it sold 1.5, and maybe it's a slow burn. I don't know. Maybe over the years, I don't know. But
maybe it's a sale kind of game
for a game that was so polarizing, and people hate it because it was all of the walking. You guys remember the memes that they made?
Oh yeah.
It sold 20 million copies.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. And so if Kojima took the feedback that gamers talked about, or what they don't want to have to wait 5 hours to get into the action. Okay, he started the game off with, the sequel off with action. He gave you the action up front to gravitate, and then nobody.
Well, he also he did listen in the sense that the entirety of Death Stranding 2 had a lot more action, a lot more action than the whole game.
That's what I'm saying. He turned the game. It's a great game, but I'll be honest. I would rather to go back to the first game of how he structured it, because that grind that you did, that was more impactful to me as someone who loved the game and beat it on every single platform. But again, that is my frustration with just gaming in general. It's like these companies ask for your feedback. They take your feedback, right? What you want, what you say you want. They take it, and they go and make another game and to try to fit that, but nobody shows up. And it's like, okay, well, what are we doing here? And then when like Slow Mo say, then when people just cancel the studio, they close them down and stuff. Then we oh my God, I can't believe they did that. I would love another whatever game, just insert whatever game. And it's like, no, you wouldn't, because you didn't support the last one.
You weren't there for the first one.
So exactly to that point, it reminds me of Killzone, right? Because Killzone 2,
thank you.
For me, thing is, what made it partly amazing for me is how dark and oppressive it is. I get it. It didn't sell huge numbers.
Drury.
I think it did well.
All Drury,
Drury, and I like that because it's so hyper violent and gritty, and it stands out from everything else, right? And I get it. Like, it didn't do Halo numbers, but it was never going to do Halo numbers because Halo at the time was the king. Call of Duty is the king these days. It's always going to be a bit more of a, I don't know, like a cinematic kind of style shooter that isn't as broadly appealing because of the weight and the heft and the violence and all this other stuff. But it had its own identity. Then they kind of went after the broader market and they dulled it down a little bit with Killzone 2, and then Shadowfall, they went more like colorful and this and that. And look at the quality dropped and the like user base dropped with it. And then in the end, they just ended up dropping it. So it's kind of like what you're saying is they're chasing what they believe like gamers want, but the gamers never showed up, and they weren't going to because it curated its own unique audience in the first place, and they kind of abandoned that audience, right? And kind of maybe in Death Stranding, because I prefer Death Stranding 2, but you're the second person on this podcast who talks about how they prefer the first game. Willie also prefers the
Shout out!
first
I was
game.
just going to say, it wouldn't be a Crossfire nib unless we had the great Willie Gamers in the chat. He says Death Stranding 1, pardon me, still the GOAT, nothing like it. And listen,
See?
Nib, you got to answer this. Babor loves saying this, and Babor's waiting for an answer. Babor, I don't even know if there is an answer for you until I get a true Elden Ring like loyalist on the show to answer it. And he says, "Coach,
man, hey, look, I could tell.
Can you answer this, Slow-mo?
We don't have the time.
No, you'd have to give us the 30-second answer, which I don't think you can do. Kojima made something refreshing for gamers. He says, and the IGN's crucified it. He said, but FromSoft shits out another Demon Souls clone. Game of the year, by the way. What's the story of Elden Ring? Babor's been asking for months, if not years.
Well, hey, Mooch.
Yeah, Dexter, you're welcome to the show, buddy. How are you?
Death Stranding, they announced the 20 million this year. But bear in mind, that's when they were full multi-plat release. Death Stranding 2 is only available on PlayStation, right?
Yes.
So until that becomes everywhere, you're not going to see its totality in sales. Currently, its sales are what it's are.
Would it be safe, Death Singer? Would it be safe for me to? Would it be safe for
me?
The
platform made that difference.
I was going to say, would it be safe for me to say
that? Passage of time.
I think Death Stranding did probably better on PlayStation.
I was PC gamers really like Kojima, but I don't think its release on PC is going to make up for. I mean, look, we're saying like 1.5 was the first one. We have no idea where it's at right now, right? But it more than likely is nowhere near like 10 million. It's not like close to where the 20 is. But I just don't see PC really making up for that much of a difference.
Oh no, it won't make up for that. But I'm on about when you see the 20 million, it looks good. But bear in mind, there was a slow burn over multiple platforms, right? That isn't just one platform. That's multiple, all combined to formulate
sales
that 20.
And pricing, discounts, and everything.
Whereas Death Stranding 2 is only available on PlayStation, so it's going to do what it's going to do, and it's up to the PlayStation fan base to push that game forwards and whatever it's going to do. So it's on them. When it finally comes to PC, which it will, I probably assume this year he'll make an announcement or whatever.
It's rated for PC, so it's coming pretty soon.
So,
that went back and forth today, right? It was rated, then I thought it was pulled back again.
Yeah, then they pulled back. Yeah, they pulled it back last.
They pulled it back again.
They pulled it back. Yeah, and let's face it, it's coming.
It's going to come to PC.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They'll probably sell 500,000 copies, maybe 1 million, maybe by next year.
It's going to sell over 1 million on PC. PC gamers love Kojima. They got Kojima's tramp stamps over there, man.
I'm just saying. Maybe if it on CD keys for maybe 20-30, but it's a $70, right? It's a $70. That's thinking he ain't spending no $70 on no game. So
I could tell you it's not going to release at full price on PC anyway because it's coming.
Well, because of CD keys, right? Yeah, that's
look at the first one, right? The first one didn't launch at full price on PC on Steam because he understands people ain't gonna pay full price for a game that's like over a year old. People ain't gonna do that shit. So he understood. Let's drop 20 or 10 off it. And people will go out and buy it.
Well, Detzinger's not wrong. I mean, Avowed is launching on PS5 at $20 cheaper. That is true.
That's true.
Exactly.
And then we get the definitive edition. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean,
shout out to Phil. Shout out to Phil for that.
Shout out to Phil.
Always looking out for
does the definitive edition have a better? Let me stop. I like Avowed. I like Avowed.
It has all the content.
I like the game. It's not Obsidian's best game.
No, it is
not
not
their best game.
Oh no,
I like the game.
It's not 30 frames.
Yo, slow mo.
I've always said.
Well, I played it on PC. I ain't get close to 30 frames per second. But my issue with Avowed was more about like story. I wasn't I wasn't a fan of how the story played out, and typically I'm the kind of person that, like, if I watch a mystery, I figure out who the killer is or like whatever, like halfway or before halfway through it. I kind of enjoy the mystery of it when I kind of know where the story beats are going to go, and I'm not even out of like the first area yet. I'm just like, I'm just kind of just like, okay, I know this is about to happen. It happens. Great.
I agree with you. It's not their best. See, Outer Worlds 2 is better than Avowed, but Avowed isn't a bad game. It's a good game.
I don't think so.
It's a good game.
I don't either. I actually like.
I enjoyed Avowed.
I did enjoy it.
More than
Me too.
Outer Worlds 2.
Me too.
Nah, I think Outer Worlds 2 is a better RPG than Avowed.
I agree with that. I like Outer Worlds 2.
Outer Worlds 2 is a better. If you're talking about being an RPG, Outer Worlds 2 does it better. Mechanically, story, choices, dialogue.
The mechanics in Outer Worlds 2 played the same way I felt like New Vegas did. I mean, it was just so old school. Avowed, I thought, was much more fluid. The world was more colorful, just a lot going. I mean, Outer Worlds 2 was beautiful in that sense too. But I did think Avowed. I thought Avowed was much better. I really did.
Well,
I'll tell you why, and I gotta run a little bit. Let me just say this real quick. I enjoyed Outer Worlds 2 more for two reasons. One, I think I enjoyed the combat more, actually. Like some of those, like, I forgot what they call it, but those like iconic weapons, like some of them are like when you get a real nice build. I was really enjoying that. I'm like just wiping out entire cities and settlements just because I feel like it was great. But I think the thing that I really enjoyed story-wise of Outer Worlds 2 over Avowed was it appeared as if, and like, you have your crew with you. You know, you gather these people over as you play over the game and everything. But it's like the amount of detail they put into these people's society, their culture, like that stuff really kind of, like, you really start to get deep into what these people are about, not just the cast that's with you, but like you go to different cities and you see how much they may hate another, not just another faction, but literally another planet, another culture, another people, period. And it's just like they really got, I think, somewhat to the detriment of the other, like, individual characters, because they seem to all be a product of the society that they came from. But those societies were so well done, and I kind of feel like that was just completely missing out of Avowed story. When it comes to RPGs, I need the story to be fire, and if I really dig in the story, then you got me. You may have some so-so gameplay. I'll stick around if the story and the characters are dope. I think story, like that daggone demigod, got it, whatever the freak thing. I'm sitting on a rock. Every time I fall asleep, this idiot keeps talking to me. I'm like, yo, go away. I don't want to talk to you no more, bro.
Here's the thing. I think Obsidian gave you two different styles. Do you prefer the older style, which Outer Worlds 2 does remind me more of their older style of RPG, whereas Avowed feels like they're trying something different. It feels like, so you're trying to get away from that old school feeling. But I think it's a better RPG. And yes, Avowed does have a predictable story. But I enjoy, like, isekai, junk. I know they are terrible anime. I know they're garbage bin. But they are comfortable. They're like comfort food. It's like I know exactly what's going to happen beat for beat. I don't even have to watch all 12 episodes. I know how this is going to end. But I enjoy the ride either way. Like, I'm not fussed. So it's Avowed is kind of like that. It's like, yeah, you can see where the story's going, but I'm going to enjoy the ride anyway because this is the shit I love. Like, if it was a genre that I don't normally play, I would have checked the fuck out, but because it's an RPG, I
was going to say one more thing, because we were talking about the Death Stranding. I understand, because people will get at me, like, sometimes we do hold these PlayStation first party releases to like different sales standards, you know, between like Outer Worlds 2, Avowed, Ninja Gaiden, like if Death Stranding 2 did bad, I'm saying they did bad, then those other games I've just listed did catastrophic, because at least Death Stranding was like charted, I think, number 2 in its Sakana month, and then it was still in the top 10, I think, or 20 in the second one. You know, it lingered for a bit in the charts. So it still did reasonably compared to these other games where, the Outer Worlds was, I think, number 7 or 8 in Sakana on every platform, just one.
It's
and
true.
Then dropped off the face of the planet.
True.
I think Ninja Gaiden was like barely cracked the top 20
because Game Pass exists.
Yeah, Game Pass
all of a sudden, everyone's like, "Well, don't worry about that. It did well because of Game Pass." That's clearly not true.
It doesn't happen. Yeah,
no.
Even Avowed, like top 20 the first month, and then off the face of the planet. But keep in mind, those games, not Outer Worlds 2 and Ninja Gaiden were PS5 as well. So we can't just say Game Pass cannibalization, because there is no Game Pass cannibalization on PS5. But again, those games like charted like a whiff and then disappeared from the face of the planet.
They're just gone.
And again, they're not like Death Stranding. Don't get me wrong, is an expensive AAA game, but weirdly enough, Kojima Productions isn't actually a massive studio, and their production costs aren't as high as some of the other AAA studios. It's an interesting thing. Like Microsoft is, I don't want to get onto Microsoft, but there is a human cost to potentially sales being diminished, right? Like now will we see a Death Stranding 3? Me personally, I doubt it. I think this has probably nipped it in the bud.
Yes.
Again, like the sales just don't necessarily satiate it.
Not just that, but when you deal with Hollywood people like the way he did too, I think what is his name? Del Toro and also Norman Reedus, you're not going to sign them again. So I think Death Stranding 2 would probably be the end of it. Yeah.
And we can see he's doing Fizzent, right? Which is like a espionage action game. So it's almost like he can read between the lines there. I know what you guys want. Okay, fine, you fuckers. I'll give it to you. Fine. You gave me he's going to give us the Metal Gear we've always wanted. You want Metal Gear? I'll give you Metal Gear.
I'll give you Metal Gear.
So that's great. But with this, like, I need to go back to sales, but like, I do worry because like Microsoft has picked up these studios. They've kind of devalued them with Game Pass, and now these games aren't selling. Like we can talk about Forza Horizon doing really well, right? But then they released a lot of games this year that did really not very well, maybe even poorly. What happens with those? Because they're not small productions either. Like we're still talking, Outer Worlds 2. I think it still has well over 1,000 people dedicated to its development over a number of years.
Yep.
Avowed actually is quite a long development. I think like almost 5-6 years or something like that. Again, well over 1,000 people worked on it. So where's the kind of like in terms of the financial viability? How does that fall on these games? Are we going to see more situations like, with Hi-Fi Rush and more layoffs and more studio closures, more, finicking down on what they do and don't make? And then Indiana Jones is another one that hasn't sold tremendously. We're talking about scoffing at 1.4 million on Death Stranding 2 opening month. I think Indiana did like less than 100K or something on Xbox and 160K on PS5.
I could tell you what they're going to do, and this is literally absolutely. I promise the last thing I'm going to say before I get up out of here. What they're going to do is they're going to double down on their big IP. So if you take Bethesda for example, you got this Fallout TV show that's doing great numbers. Everyone loves the TV show. You got big actors in it, but what game is out there capitalizing on it? There's no game capitalizing on it. So now they're going to start correcting that. You're going to start seeing far more, and I know this for a fact, because I know people who've told me who have been in the Bethesda, rooms, and know that for a certainty that you're going to start getting these remakes. You're going to start getting
Fallout 3 remake, Fallout 4 remake, right?
No, I don't doubt that.
Or not 4, but New Vegas.
But think about this, right? Think about
Fallout
this.
5 not being made by Bethesda Game Studios. It could be made by someone else. And you're going to get these remakes. You're going to get these spinoffs. You're going to get a new Vegas 2 because they want to capitalize on big IP. And so that's just one example.
That's right.
Other IP is going to be like, they're going to do that with Halo as well. Yeah. They're going to do that with Gears and so when these other smaller studios who they acquired them because they are creative studios that make good creative content. They're talented developers. But if your game don't sell, all right, now I need you to go to the salt mines.
Right.
I need you to be a Call of Duty support studio making DLC content. Mm-hmm. I need you to now make a Gears 3 remake.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Slomo. These games you're saying
didn't do that well, though.
Right. No, it did not.
Yeah.
But they're going to continue, but they still will make more. They're going to.
But that's what I was going to say to you, Slomo. But Gears E-Day
2 and 3.
But Gears E-Day, Gears E-Day has to hit. You know what I'm trying to say? Like they can rely on Halo, and like they were trying to do with Halo Infinite. Halo, I don't care. Listen, I got a lot of backlash from that. Then when that game came out, everyone was like, they were having Halo fever, and I get it. I totally get it. That game didn't do well at all, and it was supposed to be a 10-year plan. We didn't even get 10 months. So, like, you know what I mean?
The thing is, I don't want to do like doom and gloom. Oh, yeah,
no, not at all.
But look, I need people to understand what the severity of what is happening right now before our eyes or under our noses, right? So I know I reported on my ex counting individual layoffs and reaching out and stuff like that. That over there had been roughly 4,000 layoffs, right, in the last 2 years at Xbox. Which it was at the time like roughly 20-something% of the workforce, well below that, well above the average. Most of gaming is like single digits. I think PlayStation was 7-8% or something like that across. So I'm not saying there hasn't been layoffs across the industry, but the only two that had really severe numbers of layoffs were Embracer and Xbox, right? With ABK, obviously. Mm-hmm. And then I have read other articles now from news sites like Metro and Stephen Totolo's Game File.
Yep.
They're putting the estimate at closer to 6,000 layoffs, right? Because a lot of layoffs go under the radar. They're not individually reported. 6,000 would be closer to 30%. So that means of the 22,000 staff that they had after the acquisition or whatever, 6,000 have been laid off. And not only is that a significant human cost, that is a productivity and output cost, right? Because it's not like all of those developers were just sitting on their bums twiddling their thumbs. They would have been creating art, creating design, doing things, right? Mm-hmm. So that is gone now, and obviously there's certain studios went with it. And then it's like, and then when I look at sort of Call of Duty now, when was the last time Call of Duty wasn't even in the top 5? It's basically been number 1, 2, or 3 for the last decade, right? In these sales charts. Literally for the last decade, and for the first time now, Xbox takes over the mantle, and you're out of the top 5. You're in number 7 in the EU, and I get it. It's still amazing, and people always say engagement numbers. Engagement numbers are high predominantly because of Warzone, right? Not because of the purchased game. It's because on the engagement trackers like Sakana and everything else, they count Call of Duty as the Call of Duty HQ. So they're actually counting, I believe, 3 Call of Duty games and Warzone. So it's not really an accurate depiction of how well Black Ops 7 has done, because it's combining multiple releases and the free-to-play, right? So just keep that in mind when you pass that data. So now Call of Duty itself, which has multiple studios, I think 4 to 5 studios help out every 4 years or whatever. Mm-hmm. Thousands, I'm talking 4,000 to 6,000 people work on this bloody IP. It's crazy when you look at
it. It's a lot. Well, they've got a live service game, and they're turning a brand new game over every single year. So it's a lot of people. So
Call of Duty, being 7th or whatever on the sales list is not the same as a Ghost of Yotei or which had I don't know. It's a totally different ball game and a different kind of expense. Astronomically more expensive. I think that there was one article that said one of the previous Call of Duties cost over 500 million, right? And inflation isn't going down, right? Inflation in various nature, it's not de-inflation, it's inflation is going up. Mm-hmm. So whatever it did cost in that time, it's probably costing more today. So again, I don't want to doom and gloom, but like these sales trajectories for all these different games that we've talked about under Xbox and then Call of Duty now as well, it's not looking pretty. And I do think it's not just a catastrophic human toll it could have with layoffs and stuff like that, but even a productivity and quality toll, because we won't have the same number of developers producing these games, all of these different titles, etc. And they may not even produce the same type of games now because of that financial risk. So, it just goes back to why I always said, like, I don't want fucking Sony or Xbox or whoever gobbling up studios and publishers and things like that, because this is the kind of shit that can happen.
Absolutely.
You have studios literally that have been around for time immemorial without like layoffs and issues or whatever. Even like something like I forgot who makes Hi-Fi Rush. Got the name of the studio.
Oh, Tango Gameworks.
Tango Gameworks. Yeah. Tango Gameworks has been around for quite a long time, and then the moment they get acquired, they get axed. That's the kind of thing.
Right.
It's not just a specifically Xbox thing. This is big platforms and publishers in general, because they're a lot more frugal. People kept saying, "Oh, you're going to get more job security. It's going to be better for the workers."
What an absolute pile of whatever you want to say. Like, remember that was the sentiment and the rhetoric for so long, and it couldn't have been farther from the truth, Nib. Couldn't have been farther from the truth.
Like the propaganda, these fucking morons.
Why don't you guys want them to get acquired? It's safety. Microsoft's the richest company in the world. They're going to be taken care of. They're not going to have to worry about anything. They've got more to worry about now than ever before. Now imagine say that to 4,000 to 6,000 people who lost their jobs and may not be able to support their families now and all the rest of that shit. Right.
Because you guys pushed this as being the opposite, right? And so did Xbox, by the way. And then it's like, I get it. Everyone, all the fanboys always respond with the same drony response, which is, oh, the whole industry has had layoffs. And it's like, no, bro, the whole industry has had layoffs in single digits, tops like 12% of the workforce. Most of the time it's between 5 and 8%, right? With most of the major publishers, EA, etc. And then you come to Microsoft, and we're talking about Xbox specifically, potentially 27, 28% of the workforce. Of an already much bigger workforce. So they're false equivalences. You saying the entire industry has had layoffs is massively diminishing how bad of the layoffs have been with Xbox specifically, and likewise with Embracer. So isn't it interesting, the two that engaged in the most consolidation and acquisitions are the ones that are laying off
the most layoffs? And that listen, there's a lot of repetitive positions. There's a lot of this and that. But like you said, but then when things don't hit, games are made, they don't make it. Jobs are the first cut. We do have a shout out to Nelson Gaming. He says, Death Stranding, 20 million players, no Xbox Philness. Shout out to Nelson. Babor comes back. He doesn't agree with Singer. He says, Singer, go sit down. He goes, PC gamers don't buy a lot of AAA because 0.1% of PC gamers have the tech to run it. So Babor not agreeing with the great Death Singer. Death Singer. He's saying PC gamers don't have the tech.
Most people have the tech to run it. But half the time, most of these games are unoptimized to shit, because you see some of
Did you hear about the Monster Hunter thing? But
here's the thing.
Oh my god.
It's like developers give you a half-ass port, expect you to buy it, and then complain when you don't buy the game. And I think they haven't realized, like, shout out to the Yakuza devs, right? Because everyone remembers Yakuza was exclusive to PlayStation, but it always sold the most on PC. And he came out and said the reason was, from day one, we localized, we worked with them and made sure their games performed well on PC. PC players, for a niche franchise, came out and supported it. And, of course, he had that. He's tons of success. And they've done that for ages, the Yakuza devs, right? Capcom was another one, where they were initially hated because all their ports were absolute dog shit. Then they actually made good ports. Monster Hunter World sold fucking fantastic. They absolutely adored it. They were like, yo, we love Capcom, keep doing it. But then Capcom transferred and they've gone back to doing crappy ports again. So, of course, they're there again, they hate again, and they're not going to get the sales again. And half of them release a game, and you look at like what the minimum of recommended specs are. And when you actually play the game, you're like, This game does not, at minimum, require a 3080. You are so full of shit, it's unbelievable. The only reason you put that as your recommended is because you didn't optimize it properly. And that right there is the reason why, like, people and it also tracks in user reviews, right? Because if you look at a game on Steam,
that's an interesting premise, though. Yeah.
And it tracks.
By the way, for the context, like the audience may not know what I'm talking about. So this Redditor found out that one of the reasons Monster Hunter Wilds runs so poorly on PC is because it has some sort of checking system for all the DLC. So it constantly, as you're doing tasks, in every scene between the frames, it's checking whether you have the DLC. I don't know if it's for game logic or for what reason it does that. But basically, when you don't have the DLC, it keeps rerunning these checks in the background, which is tanking performance. And the guy made a mod which fools the game into thinking that you have all the DLC, even when you don't. And it's like between 50 and 90% performance boost. And at first, there was some murmurs like, is this real? I can confirm, like Digital Foundry has confirmed that it is legit, and the next episode is going to be discussing it, and they've done their own tests. It's an actual real thing, and it's just crazy.
Doing the shit that the devs can't do,
right?
Because these devs, we're supposed
PC
to
gaming
have
is where you pay to help the devs.
No. The thing is, it's like the devs we're supposed to have a bleeding heart and whatnot for them, and it does suck when bad stuff happens to them. But
take my money. Let me work for you guys. Let me work.
But it's like at the same time, you don't give a shit over here. People have to go fix your shit for you. Then something terrible happens to your studio, and then you expect people to feel sorry for you. And it's like, you sold me a shitty product, and then we have to come behind you and fix it. The gamers have to come back, because they're doing this for free. The modders...
Yeah, keep in mind, this is nearly a year after its release, right? It released in February, I think?
Yes.
But here's
That's
the thing.
Crazy.
When there's a problem, people go into the actual files of the game, and then they go figure out, what the fuck's going on? Because clearly Capcom doesn't care. So we have to go do it ourselves. Let's go fix the game. And so, of course, the community gets together and fixes the game so everyone can have a good time playing the game. But none of them should have to do these bug fixes. This is all on the developers. So when the developer then comes out and says, well, the sales weren't exact... Well, what the fuck were you expecting, my guy? You put in half-assed effort, you got half-assed sales. Perhaps you put in the effort, and you might actually get a good thing going on.
Now, there's different developers as you go through Capcom, but it's so funny. And by the way, this has nothing to do with Death Singer at all, but this is just in the community. I see it all the time on X. You see sometimes Capcom, they call them Cap Gods, and then sometimes you have this situation. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just, which is it? Are they a mess? Are they not? Is it just one dev team that's worse than the other? I don't know.
Exactly. By the way, I mentioned about like the people working on Call of Duty. Fucking take a guess how many people, not including thanks, mind you. This is actual dev or production roles or whatever. Guess how many people are credited as working on Black Ops 7?
Oh God, I think you said the number earlier. Didn't you say somewhere around
4,000? I said right.
You said 4,000, so it would be between. Well, but for this one game, maybe somewhere between 2,500 and 4,000.
8,485.
The reason I thought the 4,000 was the grand number of everybody working on everything, Warzone, everything.
485.
Oh my God!
Come on, man! What the fuck? That's
a lot of people.
I've never even read something that has.
The thing is, though, I think for Call of Duty, it's like Call of Duty's quality is what suffered. Like, if you look over the years, right, you have something like Modern Warfare 2 back in the day, a 94 meta, right? Modern Warfare 3, an 88. And then you're like, okay, the first one got an 18, not bad. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare got a 94. But then when you start getting to like Black Ops 4, Black Ops 2, we're now in the 80s. Black Ops 3, we're now lower in the 80s. Now we're in the 70s with Ghosts. Then we
What's
go back
Black Ops 6? Because I love Black Ops 6, the campaign anyway. I don't know about that.
Black Ops 6. I'm looking now. It's like Black Ops Cold War was a 76.
Yeah,
Call
I know
of
Cold War.
Duty 78. Advanced Warfare was an 81. Then Vanguard was a 73. Then Modern Warfare 2, the new one, was a 75. Then a 79. And then, wow, we managed to get one low 80. And now it's back into the 70s. And I'm having a look at what this one is now. Black Ops 7 is down into the 60s on Metacritic. Like I just went over the history of Call of Duty, and it started off in the 90s, in the 80s. Then it went into the 70s. Then it kind of ticked back. Now it's gone back down again. I think Call of Duty is finally this idea that they're too big to fail. They are not innovating. They are just relying on...
Are you telling me it's another IP that Microsoft is going to end up killing?
No, it's not going to die. I'm just saying...
I'm not saying quality, die, but dwindle.
No, but like the quality... But back in the day, Call of Duty was the big thing with big quality, the big blockbuster shooting game. But now, it's like they're not even trying. Like, Black Ops 7 is just Black Ops 6. With some extra bells and whistles.
Which is why but Detzinger, I agree with you. And then I wonder why the 8,000 people?
Because they have 20 support studios or whatever the fuck they got going on over there. Like, Call of Duty is just...
So, Nib, that's I don't mean to interrupt you, but Dre in the chat is asking, where did you get your source, Nib, for the number of people who worked on Black Ops 7?
Moby Games has all credited for every game. I use them.
Okay, there, Dre, I don't know if you'll accept that answer, but that is exactly where he got it from. He asked, where's the source on that? And I'm like, believe me, if you're asking Nib, there's a source.
Yeah, so Moby Games is like a data logger for different games. They cover reviews, promos, specs, releases, like
so let me ask you guys a question, because I've got a lot of topics here, and we've been Monster Hunter Wilds and the poor performance linked to DLC is definitely one of them. But I did want to ask you guys a little bit about the big news coming out with PS5 Pro and PSSR 2.0, and we were talking about Marathon before. I was going to try to marry it into that, because the rumor is that PSSR 2.0 comes out in March, and so does Marathon. You'd probably like to show that off on your console at 120 frames, smooth as butter, or whatever they're planning.
If it works.
Detzinger. J-Dub, Detzinger goes, if it works, but FSR 4, I'm sure is not a problem. It's shout out to Detzinger. But what do you guys think? Are you guys? We talked about this on the channel, and I remember saying a year ago or whatever it was, I said, PSSR this is basically their beta, right? What they put out there. This is supposed to be 2.0 is really their full-fledged, I think, coming out the first time saying this is what we fully intended. Old games are going to get this patch. New games are going to get this patch. This is supposed to be the real deal. What do you guys think about the whole, PS5 Pro and PSSR 2.0 arriving in March?
I think that if it's supposed to be in anywhere between January and March. Can't wait. Anything that's going to enhance performance and image quality, I'm all for it. And the fact that, here's the thing. You can not like PlayStation if you want, right? But you got to give credit to Mark Cerny. I mean, there's some of the miracles that this guy has worked out, being able to take on more powerful hardware with weaker hardware and still come out on top. I mean, I think most people probably trust him.
Jay, let me piggyback off that. Coming back from the Xbox One era and PS4, you remember we used to all talk about on the Xbox side a lot of the secret sauce and what's coming down the pipe, and DX12 is going to change everything. This is one of the first times that you get something that's coming out that takes the console you currently own at home and enhances this thing to such a substantial amount that you have people like Digital Foundry and stuff that are going to cover it and talk about it. So Jay, credit to what you're saying there. You don't have to like PlayStation, and I'm not telling you not. Clearly, if you have a more powerful rig, you're going to enjoy your PC, and that's fine. But I mean, to say the console space, which is doing phenomenal, it's still doing fine. And believe me, once GTA 6 comes out and the new headlines, PS5's flying off the shelf, console gaming's never been so healthy. It'll be the complete opposite of what you guys have been reading the last 6 months while everyone's been bored.
Exactly.
You know, so I mean, this is a situation where I turn around and I say, I made an investment in a PS5 Pro. I'm already happy with the device I have at home, Jay. But now this is going to take this to another level. Nib, what do you think when you read this? And you read between the lines a lot of times. Do you think on the tech side that this is going to be that substantial boost?
I mean,
or are you holding reservation?
No, so I'm having a little bit of trepidation because, like, at the end of the day, the way it achieves FSR4 is still different. I think it uses 8-bit integer and some other differences versus AMD cards.
Okay.
So it's not an exact, like, one how it's implemented. And that gives me a tiny bit of point in terms of whether it will necessarily be as good as FSR4. If they do manage to get it as good as FSR, like, fuck me, like, sideways. Like, to me, like, that FSR4 is good enough, you know? Like,
right.
You know, when we talk about, like, the PC gamers were touting DLSS 3, like, how many years, right? And I get an FSR4 is, according to Digital Foundry, NX Gamer, etc., superior to DLSS 3, but DLSS 4, the new transformer model, etc., is superior to FSR4, but with performance hit, right? But at the end of the day, we're talking about something that's superior to the thing that was the best on the block for the better part of the entire, you know, gaming, the gaming generation, basically. So that's still an amazing boon for console gamers. Like,
we're talking about consoles, right? Where it's already optimized because it's a closed environment, and any little boost that the hardware can do or the software can do will give it even that much big of a boost. I think, man, I think, you know, I think it's gonna be a lot more impactful than we may
I
anticipate.
agree. If it does deliver on what is being reported, then absolutely. Because let's think about it, right? The main Achilles heel for console gaming is usually like image quality. And performance sometimes, but it's like image quality. When you run those games at 60 on regular consoles, you know, you're talking like 720p.
You get a dip. It's quite a dip.
Exactly, and then you're using FSR 2.3, which has all the streaking and whatever. And PSSR currently does a much better job in motion. But even the still image quality isn't quite as tack sharp or whatever. This is gonna like literally solve that issue, right? FSR4, like going from these lower resolution, suddenly you're gonna get a much more much cleaner image, and it's gonna eradicate the biggest issue that has compelled console gaming. At least if you're using the 60 frames, right? So I think massive get like. I'm hyped for it. Hopefully it does work really well, and hopefully the only thing I've heard could bring it down is the implementation is not necessarily as automated as I like, and apparently developers still have to do some work to implement it, and not all games will be using it. Hopefully that's just wrong, and because it's not like Sony to do something like that. Usually these days when they add these kind of tools, they do automate them, even with their dev kits and with
people are.
Cool.
Go ahead, Jessinger.
I was going to say the devs will have to put to implement them into the game.
Absolutely,
and also to for the full effect, we need to see unlocked frame rates, right? Because the biggest point of like if they go, we have a 60 mode and a 30 mode. Sure, your upscaling is going to make the image quality look better, but you're not going to feel the performance because you're still locked.
So here's the thing with the rumors, right? The rumors are saying that not only is the image quality better, but it's giving a solid performance advantage addition. And that's because PSSR currently, the frame time cost is actually higher than FSR. So it may clean up the image quality, but it's costing performance. Whereas they're saying this new PSSR FSR4 model not only cleans up the image, both of everything that's available now, but also gives a performance advantage.
So let me ask you this:
some people,
but here's the thing: it's because it's a locked frame rate. It doesn't matter how much a performance boost, you will only be able to get 60 frames per second.
Unless the frame rate.
Yeah, but think about it. Those 60 frames will be more stable and locked versus going up from
Exactly.
45 to
but,
toddling. Yeah.
but for the full effect, you would ideally want unlocked frame rate.
Yes, no, absolutely. And then that way
Yes.
you can hit
If you have
VRR, you can hit the
VRS,
VRR, the
VRR, sorry,
VRR threshold to make it even better, right? So yes, in theory, if all of this works the way that it need to work or whatever, we may be in for a huge surprise. Again, we're talking console. We're not talking PC, but on a closed box. Now, here's the thing: PSSR currently is only utilized on the PS5 Pro. Do you guys think they'll in the future find some kind of way to bring the PS5 Slim update where software would be able to do that? And I understand it's the hardware and the Pro, but
I don't think so.
I don't think. I don't.
From what I understand, they're using the 300 tops of AI.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
it's specifically.
No. So here's a good question from Silver Wolf. He says, "Will PSSR 2.0 have an option to improve games even if devs don't make a pro mode?" Here's my question. I think I have part of an answer to that. I thought I read an article earlier this week that said basically what the thought is if the games were made, let's say I'm picking up Black Myth Wukong, right?
Wukong.
If that game has a pro mode and they used PSSR and all that for 1.0, I don't know if they would have to go back in to do anything or it would be very slight work, but they do need to utilize it for anything moving forward. So does that hold water or no? They do have to go in and tweak everything if it was.
They have to go in.
They do? Okay.
The thing is, even with DLSS, right?
Yep, same thought process,
It must be integrated by the game developer, and then what you do is you yourself go into the settings in the game, and then you could choose to activate or deactivate. Choose whether you want performance, or do you want quality, or do you want in between. So it's on to the devs are gonna have to manually.
No. So I understand that on PC, but if you read the rumored logs, what they're saying about PSSR is that Sony currently, as in before PSSR update even comes out, is implementing new debugging dev tools, which when you're developing the game, it essentially scans for artifacts, smearing, image quality issues and stuff, and actually adapts the way PSSR is implemented to get rid of those issues. Now, again, that's obviously just, that's LD or whatever reading, papers from internally. So I don't know how much of that will actually fruition, but it's not the same as how it is on PC. It's like obviously the API.
It wouldn't be the same, but it'd be similar because even NVIDIA, who is at the forefront of super sampling, they can't make it work automatically. Like
but it never will be because PC has thousands of. PC has thousands of hardware variables, and PlayStation is a fixed platform. So, especially if it's PS5 Pro only, right? Like, you don't have to account for, umpteen different, clock speeds and CPUs and RAM and all the rest of the GPUs.
But if the developer in their game didn't include the option in their game code to run DLSS for the PSSR, then the game wouldn't utilize it because the game is not thinking about it because it's not in the code, right?
Oh no, I agree with that. But what I'm saying is if you reduce the amount of effort it is for the dev to implement it, then obviously more people
they would do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, more people will implement
it. And I'll give you an example. And I'll give you an example of how that can be implemented. Right? Remember, before the PS5 came out, so many people were of the mind that DualSense and haptics would be basically a gimmick that isn't used by most games. Yeah, and the reason it is, they understood, they got the memo from Sixth Axis or whatever, and so DualSense haptic feedback can be automated in game development by sound waves. So they basically are mini speakers in the controller. They have the micro vibrations waveform to basically actually play entire songs if you put it on a table and you play a song hooked up to a PC and it's synced to the motors, you can actually hear the song on the table. But so what they've done is, if you don't want to put in the work and it to this individual, just use our tool that will map it based on the sample. So if there's a loud bang or a loud pop, and depending on where in the 5.1 or or even more, I forgot, Atmos, where the positionality is, it will automatically do it on the control. Well, based on where the sound is coming from. So that, because of the ease of implementation, developers are like, do you know what? Do it. And I think PSSR is pretty widely adopted. Like, I think the majority of games use it.
I agree.
But
it's not the majority. It's
I think it
mainly
is
PS5 Pro enhanced games or games that were made already. Like, if you look at most of the PS4 catalog, for example, most of those games don't use.
No, I don't mean back updating. I'm talking about new games.
New games.
Of course. All new games will utilize this technology going forward.
No, and that would be the same, I'm sure, for this new PSS update. I don't think people are going to. I don't think many studios will go back and update old code.
Honestly, guys, I only play PS5 Pro enhanced games. Like, I don't really.
They're the only
games that aren't Pro enhanced. That's like,
it's funny. There was this emphasis with back compat back in last generation. It kind of bled a little bit into this generation. I know PC gamers are big on this. They're like, I'm still playing, Left 4 Dead 2, and it's like, all right, I get it. But my point is like, I think when it comes down to it, I think this is a new technology. Majority are going to be for new games coming out. I do think the devs that took time to use PSSR in the last year or so are probably going to go back and update their games. Like, I'm picking on this game. I don't know if they used it. I don't think they did. But like the Callisto Protocol?
Yep.
Right? If they used it, they would go back in and update to PSSR 2.0. They'd be silly not to.
Yep.
The other thing is, though, I talk to you, the gamers that are listening to the show, and I know, of course, the easier answer is, of course, I go back and play them. After you beat a game, right, and you've put anywhere from 40 to 80 hours into a game, and you enjoyed it thoroughly, and then someone's like, you're on X or you're on your favorite gaming, forum, and you're reading, and they're like, oh, you won't believe it. This game, like Avowed, right? Let's say Avowed next year or whatever gets PSSR 2.0, oh, well, I better go play that 50-hour game again because I want to see that differential in frame rate. Like, what are we talking about? It's about everything's about moving forward for the most part. For the most part, not indefinitely. Never speak in absolutes. Yeah. But you know what I mean? So I find that always really funny when people are like, is everything back that I own since 1987 going to get PSSR 2? No. No, but it's like, when they release this, all new games going forwards will have this integrated, and then
so I think that's all that PS5 Pro owners are going to really care about.
And then select devs may go back and patch their games or whatever. Yeah. But for the most part, all new games 2026 onwards are all going to be. Every single one is going to have a PSSR integration in it. And then you could just go in and click it and just turn it on. And they'll probably give you a quality mode, a performance mode, a balanced mode. So you can, play around with how do you want the game to go.
Right now they have those modes, but they mostly have just a pro mode. And it encompasses all that stuff together.
Let me ask you this, Destiny. Destiny, would you have ever imagined that this generation consoles would get IQ image quality from upscaling that was better than DLSS 3.5?
Now, I've always wanted them to have that.
I didn't say, did you want it? I said, would you have ever guessed? This generation.
Yeah, it actually makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense.
How? Because the hardware is not in the current consoles, it's just the PS5.
No, but it's like, the thing is, technology. Consoles will just use the technology. PC gets it first, but then consoles get the technology as well. It's like,
so how long has DLSS 2.5, 3.5, etc. been around?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to go Google it. DLS 2.5 release date was that was back in 2.51 was January 2023.
Okay.
December 2022 was when.
2022.
But the thing is, it's like
that wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago. But consoles now, obviously, they're getting.
Now imagine when the PS6 dropped, right? When you were talking about FSR 5 or whatever the new newness is. I mean,
I'm just saying.
No. The thing is, I understand where you're coming from, but they're on DLSS 4.5 now. They'll be on DLSS 8 by the time the PS6 comes out. So they'll always be ahead.
But I get that. But what I'm saying is, like, even DLSS 4. The newest one, I forgot what it's called.
4.5.
4.5. Yeah, it's not like, if you notice, it's not. We're kind of like as good as it needs to get, and it's very micro things. Even 4.5. A lot of people don't actually prefer it to the previous transform model. They say it's over sharpened. It doesn't look as natural, and I agree. I had to look at a bunch of like media, high quality media, and then PNG.
4.5.
Yeah, 4.5. So it does kind of add like a really tack sharp kind of sharpening filter, and I saw some images of Cyberpunk PNG, right?
Yeah,
and I, hand on heart, I preferred the previous transform.
Yeah,
I just think, like, it's like when you put the sharpening up on your TV, it takes away from like how cinematic and believable the scene is. Like, background objects are like too tack sharp. That's not how we perceive things in life. Usually we have an element of depth of field and distance and whatever. That's how just humans envisage things. Not everything is hyper detailed. So I actually prefer the older model, and that's what I mean. Like, we're getting to the point of diminishing returns. FSR 4.
No, I'm glad you said that, man, because there is a such thing called good enough, and I think, especially with console gamers, right, and even with most PC gamers. I mean, we know based on Steam reporting the average GPU, right, that's out there, is we're reaching that point where this is good enough, right? Like my PS5 Pro, it doesn't have to be a 5090, it doesn't have to be a 5080, right? It plays my games good enough with high enough resolution, high enough image quality, and frames to where I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. It has good enough ray tracing, good enough.
It's funny you said, Jay, that's
good enough.
When you talk to friends and coworkers and things that have the PS5, whenever I get into like, oh, have you tried ray tracing on a PC? This and that, they have a console and they're like, no, they don't know anything what we're even discussing most of the time, and they're like, no, they're like, my console's. They literally use the words, no, my console's good enough. That's literally what they say.
Here's the thing.
Let me put it this way.
Even PC gamers say that, right? Because they don't. Most of them don't use ray tracing. They turn ray tracing up. They say it's not worth the performance. It's not worth the hit on performance. They say that about everything else. So we're at that point. We're just at that point.
To J-Dub's point on that. See, you have to understand it from a PC perspective, right? DLSS is the best way for ray tracing, right? Ray tracing is so fucking demanding, and for what you want to do on PC, DLSS is mandatory for ray tracing, right? For any good performance, you need to slap that bitch on. Otherwise, if you try and run it at like ultra settings with ray tracing, your frame rate's going to be like 20 FPS, right? So DLSS is mandatory. So DLSS now is not used more so for image quality. It's used more so maximum performance, because games are being more demanding, which is more demanding on the hardware, so that you could use it as a crutch to get better performance. And hence, NVIDIA now is focusing more on frame gen, which obviously frame gen further helps performance with fake frames, but it's like DLSS has hit the point now where it's no longer doing that. Like, if you want to run Cyberpunk path tracing, for me, DLSS is mandatory. If I turn that off, my frame rate is going to go in the bucket, right? So it's like, I need that as a mandatory standard. So that's where consoles is going. Like, PSSR will be a crutch for PlayStation games going forwards, because they can dial up the ray tracing, because they'll go, well, they'll use PSSR. So they'll.
I don't think that is a crutch. I think that is.
It's mandatory.
It's like that. That's in my opinion. That is a better use of the
I was just
hardware.
going to say that. Yeah.
I don't want all of the friggin' resources going just to pump the resolution up and this other stuff. I would prefer on graphics fidelity settings. I will say, it's weird because the PS5 Pro for this update is going to be such a compelling piece of hardware, especially at a time when PC RAM and GPU prices and everything are going up. I think Nvidia just announced they're stopping selling is it the 60 or 50,
5070
or something?
Actually, it's the card Death Singer.
And 5070.
Death Singer, does that affect you at
that's
all?
So that's discontinued now, and it's like imagine you can get for relatively cheap, and PlayStation has locked in currently the RAM orders for and inventory for quite a while, right? So it shouldn't see significant increases. I'm not saying that it wouldn't increase, but it shouldn't see significant increases. The fact that they've been discounting it all Friday makes me think that probably is the case as well. So you've got this piece of hardware that is essentially gaining in value proposition versus the rest of the market and versus PC gaming. And then you've got an FSR 4 update too, so you're getting 3070 Ti or around that ballpark, maybe better depending on optimization, etc. kind of performance. You're getting FSR 4 and all of that in a package that's $650, $600 or something, like $700. I don't know what it is, Black Friday or sales or whatever. But that is super compelling, dude. And then even Steam Machine, the reports are that's going to come out at $700 to $800 whatever. And a PS5 Pro is going to be similarly priced, possibly even cheaper, with significant better performance and better potentially IQ as well. Come on.
They're about to hit 100 million PlayStation sold. That PS5 Pro is going to go crazy. It's just because of the cost, because of the tech that's in it, and the fact that PC is kind of shit in the bed right now. And Xbox is pretty much out of gaming at this point. You kind of have no choice, right? You kind of have no choice.
Actually, you do. See, this is a common misconception. This is a common misconception around PC gaming.
Leave PC alone.
It's just a misconception because people think because DDR5 RAM prices are going up. The thing is, it's there's a reason now that DDR4 and AM4 motherboards have all of a sudden picked up in sales because PC gamers have gone, okay, you could jack those prices up. We'll just fall back to this older tech. Bear in mind, DDR4 is perfectly fucking good.
The GPU prices are going to go up too. And so is SSD and everything.
But the thing is, GPU prices have always gone up. Nvidia has been price gouging for fucking years. This is
there we go then, isn't it?
Well, the thing is, but now they actually have a reason to price gouge. But the thing is, it's now.
The thing is, I get what you're saying, but it's a bit of a precarious situation for PC gamers in particular, and I'll explain why. Right. So basically, the cost calculus for PlayStation, right? PlayStation for Sony, PlayStation is their business market, right?
Yeah.
Nvidia, the problem is now gamers are essentially a second or third tertiary consideration because their primary moneymaker is actually AI and other basic commerce corporations and things like data centers and all the rest of it. So they're not really thinking that as much about gamers. They're like, we don't even need your money coming elsewhere. Far more money. So whereas PlayStation isn't going to do that. They're not going to be like, we don't care about gamers. That is their primary bread and butter, right? So what I'm essentially getting at is that the price trajectory and the prioritization could be much worse for PC gamers specifically than console gaming in general, because it's just a different model and a different.
Well, but then again, it's just a whole different thing. PlayStation.
When you have companies, right, giving up on the consumer market to go focus on the AI market. I'm talking about Micron. I'm talking about other that's huge.
Yeah,
that is huge. And if you look at like Nib just said, NVIDIA's bread and butter is not GPUs, right? It's AI, it's the APUs or the AI units that's inside the Tesla cars. It's all of the mainframes and stuff that they use to sell to China and everywhere else. That's their business model. This gaming stuff, they don't care. Like they don't care. This is nothing.
And by the way,
So,
it's not just Nvidia. Like, who was the big vendor for Nvidia that dropped out of the business now? I forgot. They were one of the biggest.
Oh,
which one? They used to be branded like Nvidia branded GPUs you buy from.
Oh yeah.
Literally,
that's you remember they stopped like 2 years.
Is
it was like 2
EVGA
years ago.
Or something else.
EVGA,
No.
Who was it? It was one of the biggest ones. They stopped.
No, the reason that happened was because Nvidia fucked them hard.
No, I understand, but what I'm saying is that's happening. It's not just from Nvidia. Nvidia is squeezing the vendors as well. Their margins are getting tighter and tighter and tighter.
Nvidia doesn't even include memory with their GPUs to the AIBs anymore, right? Like they're just selling you the card with the GPU on it, but you got to provide your own memory. Like this is new territory, and I don't see it changing.
Memory. They have VRAM.
No. With VRAM, but they don't provide it. Nvidia would normally provide it, but they don't provide it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The customer would have to provide that, not you, but whoever they're selling it to.
VGA literally put out a statement. They're saying like basically the margins and stuff just aren't there anymore, and it's like you can see slowly Nvidia is just they're not as interested in the consumer market, and they're basically trying to increase their margins from the consumer and from vendors. And if it can't keep up with the commercial side of things, they're just like, then we won't do it.
Right.
Yeah, and keep in mind, NVIDIA already have in their consumer GPU segment, their profit margins, right? The margins on the revenue that they incur, I believe last time I checked was 47%. Just to put that in perspective, right? PlayStation's margin is between 7 and 13%. Nintendo's margin is higher than that, like 15 to 20. But NVIDIA's already price gouging the fuck out of their consumers, and there's still not enough for them. They still want more.
Well, because the AI bubble happened. The thing is, it's like Nvidia fucking up does open the door for the other competitors because Intel recently got in the game, and they have been.
No. Nvidia just bailed Intel out, right? They just bailed them out. They bought a certain percentage of them. They gave them some money to help them out. So it's not. I don't think they're suddenly going to make any kind of change.
Intel's GPUs are currently getting better and they're vastly cheaper, but also AMD is still hanging around. And so if NVIDIA decide to, fuck around and find out, AMD could just take that spot from because AMD.
Listen, Detzinger, we've been not we just saying me. I'm saying that I see on X all the time. People in the PC industry have been saying that for a long time, and NVIDIA still is the king. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, of course, NVIDIA is the king because NVIDIA has always had the best services and features.
Don't get me wrong, AMD definitely can. They definitely have their chance in the sun. Hold on, guys. We do have a bunch of super chats here that are some of them very, very funny. I've got to read these. These are great, and they are all pertaining to this subject. So we're not leaving subject. The Great Babor is back. He says a 5070 pulls more total wattage than my Pro. Inefficient. So Babor just giving you an environmental fact. Shout out to Babor. Dryad Chisel 4505. He says by the time PS6 comes out, they'll probably have a newer version of PSSR. I was talking to him in the chat. I firmly believe that we'll probably be on 4.0 by the time we get to, you know what I mean, or 5, right? This is my favorite, Jay. Jay, this is for you. Hopefully he's still here in the chat. I even wrote him. I said, this is a funny... He goes, this is great. Zigzagging. He goes, Mooch, short-time listener, but long-time hater. Shout out to Zigzag. And then he goes, I need to ask J-Dub, how does he live with himself?
You a fan.
Oh, my God. Jay,
shout out to my brother Zigzag.
Shout out to Zigzag, man. That when I saw that, man, I even wrote him right away. I was like, yo, that's an outstanding super chat.
Thank you for your viewership.
I started laughing. That's hilarious.
Yo, shout out to Zigzag. Mariko, thank you so much for the $10 super chat, buddy. I appreciate that. He says PS6 will likely be sold at a loss to get users on PlayStation storefront. How will GPUs undercut? Will GPU power be enough of a difference at that level?
Wait, based
diminishing
on
returns, mate. I'm calling it right now. What?
Based on what Mark Cerny talked about previously, with him and the guy from AMD, going forward, it's going to be less. It's going to be less and less about the GPU power, and it's going to be more about other things that added value. We have reached that point of diminishing returns. We have the 4K, we have the ray tracing, we have all the SSD and all that stuff. How else? This is what I understand, right? I had a 3090, then I moved to the 4090, then I moved to the 5090. None of my games look better. And technically, if you
They
don't
should.
use it, no, I'm telling you. And at if you leave it up to Digital Foundry, they're going to zoom in 1,000%, and they're going to do pixel peeping, right? But
Pixel peep.
I don't play by zooming in at 400%, 203, 5. That's not how we play, right? And so in order for you to tell the difference, you got to zoom in 400%. That's the micro level. So you're selling me this based on what someone else is telling me on the differences is if you zoom in that much. But none of us play. Our monitors are not like that. Our TVs are not like that. So we're just taking their word on it. We can go by performance, but we've already reached the performance limit where, I mean, most of our games 100 plus frames a second. Now, if you're an esports player and you got to play at 350 frames or so, 60 frames and 500 frames and stuff like that, because you're playing Valorant or Dota or whatever, then kudos to you. But the average gamer don't play like that. So we're left to say, hey, you need to show me something that's a tangible difference. And Nvidia started with the ray reconstruction. They started with all the other stuff that's going on. And it's like, that's well and dandy, right? But until we get some games that really push and show the difference, I mean, people are
Put it this
still
way,
just
right?
using Cyberpunk, right? Which is an old ass
Exactly.
game, as a
Exactly.
benchmark of what something is. And I'm like, guys, as much as I like that game, like that shit
Time
is
to move on.
old. It's
It's time to
old,
move on.
right?
It's
Yeah,
like an
it's time to move
ex-girlfriend or
on.
something. You need to let go.
The
Yeah,
problem
But
and
the thing I was going to say as well, back in the day, it would be like really ultra high resolutions and frame rates, right? PC and the
yep.
console together. And then now it's like path tracing is the big thing. Cerny himself keeps talking about path tracing and ray tracing. So
Yeah.
I assume they have that in mind for the PS6, right? With the performance figures that we're getting from the papers, from the leaked papers, is in that ballpark, right? If you're getting this significantly better ray tracing performance than the PS5 and even the PS5 Pro, you're in that ballpark now. Obviously, we don't know if it's hot air or not. I know Dessinger's skeptical, but whatever. Let's just say it does have path. It can do path tracing, and then it also has a better version than FSR4 for image quality upscaling. So you're basically getting equivalent to 4K, which is enough. It's all you need, right? In terms of image quality. And then consumers don't actually, I don't think, very, very niche of consumer is going to want more than 60 frames. So that diminishing return is actually going to be probably greater than ever before next generation, right? What the fuck are you going to spend like thousands of pounds on a PC for? Just your 120 frames and widescreen, and like path tracing is already there, so you're not getting much there. It'll be like the minor things, like shadow detail, and not actually. You don't even need to say, if you've got path tracing, it'll just be like textures and things like that. But I honestly don't think it's going to be warrant nearly that kind of a premium, especially if PlayStation, undercut if they subsidize.
I can tell you this, man. I can tell you this. When they show, and mark my words, it's going to be a launch game for the PS6, right? And I don't know if it's going to have FSR 5 or 6 or, Sony first party might not even take advantage of any of that shit because they're just so good, right? But can you imagine? And mark my words, I'm willing to bet anybody $1,000 they're going to launch with Horizon 3. PS6 is going to launch with Horizon 3. It's going to look phenomenal. It's going to look something like we never seen before because those guys, they're graphically and gameplay, like these guys are just on another level. And if they launch with that, and again, you're spending $500, $600, $700, for a PlayStation 6. And then, then on the other side, you got the PC where you can spend $2,500, $3,500, $5,000 for a GPU alone. And then the best game that they're going to show you graphically is like Cyberpunk, something that came out a decade ago. It's like these are it's really less about the hardware at this point, and it's really more.
Do you know what another game that could be a launch game?
What do you think?
Based on the leaks, friggin' X-Men, bro. In the Insomniac leaks, they have X-Men as 2027, 28.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine it fucking launches with X-Men and a New Horizon game. That shit is it's a done deal, bro.
Yeah.
It's a done deal.
Yeah, if 2027 truly is the year of the PS6 releasing, which I thought it would have came a little later.
I think it'll be 2028.
Yeah, 28. But if it's 27, you hear people saying on podcasts all the time and shows in the know, they're like, why is it PlayStation first party really didn't show up this generation? If it's 27, then I think a lot of these studios that you see that haven't released are going to start releasing big, for PS6. I think if it's 28, I think you see a lot of games coming out, that tail end of PS5's era, much like they did with PS4. PS4 and PS3.
Remember?
That's right. Everything,
because Last of Us and stuff like that at the end of.
When you look at the games you loved and the games people go, why isn't PS5 living up to PS4? And then they rattle off the games they like. A lot of those games came out in 2017, 2018, 2019. The years leading up to the 2020 release. And Last of Us 2 was actually 22. I think it didn't. Yeah, that came out June 2020. Yeah. Or something like that.
120 FPS will need to be the standard for shooting games, though, because you could say what you want about single
player. It is.
That's fine.
No, it doesn't. No. He's just changing the goalpost because he realizes the walls are coming in.
No. What I mean is, what you call a performance mode now on the PS5 Pro.
It's 120.
Yeah, but that needs to be the standard mode. That shouldn't be the performance mode.
Come on, you two are capping right now. I bet most consumers don't care about the difference between 60 and 120.
Listen, majority of the people that have TVs, right? The max that their TVs can do is 120 frames. So you already have that covered. If you're saying that's the base, majority of console gamers don't they don't play on monitors. Only monitors allow you to go higher than that, not these TVs. So how is the base, which is the max of TVs? Like that's even right now.
Get out of your bubble, your PC hyper. Keep in mind, Defsinger, most gamers based on the Steam hardware there don't even have hardware better than PS5, and you're saying 120 is the default. Come on, dude, you're doing that thing where like you're in a hyper niche and you're broadening it to the entire market. People don't care. They caring about 120.
Remember, the Steam machine is more powerful than 75% of all PCs out there. So he's right.
Yeah,
he's right.
He's talking doo-doo.
Most of you PC guys.
No. It's not talking doo-doo because when Nib said, 60 FPS is perfectly fine. If you played a shooting,
but you knew.
I literally do have that option. I switch all the time, and I every time I prefer 60.
Other games,
because why would I sacrifice more image quality and all the rest of bells and whistles for something that's almost intangibly different?
But Nib, here's the point. That sacrifice you're making in image quality, like for example with Final Fantasy, what happens if you don't have to make that? You get the quality mode with the performance of the performance mode.
Yeah, but you just said 120 will be the standard. But what I'm saying is you're talking about an extreme niche of customer.
Yeah,
most people aren't going around like 120 minimum. Come on, guys.
No.
These days, some people even play at even lower than bloody 60.
I actually said 120 should be it in multiplayer games, which is correct. It should.
But it is. That is the standard.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not a standard, but it's available. It's an option.
It's available.
There is no. What I'm saying is it's available on the PS5 base console.
Base console,
right?
yes.
120 frames.
Call of Duty,
every single shooter.
Yeah, I don't know about Apex.
Battlefield and every. So what I'm asking is like, what do you mean? It is already the standard.
Right. I'm on about all games, and I'm on about there shouldn't be a quality mode and a performance mode, which there is right now. All games should just have You just
wait. You're a PC guy. You're the guy that's always talking about options.
I like my options,
so
right? Yeah.
You're the options guy. So you're telling me now you want to take options away from the PC gamers where they have no options? Like
No.
hold on. All of Sony's first party games, not only does it have a pro mode, right? But it has multiple pro modes and it has the original modes that it has. So you can tinker and tweak to your heart's content. So you're still complaining?
You're completely missing the point.
It
is very unfortunate.
You know what I said about diminishing returns? He's pushing it up now. He's pushing it up.
No, the thing is,
that's what he's doing.
Unfortunately, this is a brain dead argument because you guys are completely missing the point. Right now on the PS, right now on Ghost of Yotei, right?
Yeah.
If you want ray tracing, you need to go on the pro mode, right? Now, when PS6 comes out, that should just be basic. As soon as you boot up the game,
it will be.
Need to swap a mode. Right, that's exactly what I'm on about.
No, but what if I don't want ray tracing? I want options.
Yes, but that's the beautiful thing. You go into the settings and turn on and off the stuff you want and don't want.
But that's what I do now. If I don't want ray tracing right now, there's a certain mode that I go where it turns off the ray tracing. Why are you?
I don't think you'll get that option.
I see what he's saying. Okay.
I know.
So he's saying
I don't think they'll give that option, and nor do I think they should, because options are okay because obviously PC has variability, right? But actually, if you want prime optimization, if you want a product that is perfectly designed for your hardware to maximize the most,
get a console.
You actually want less options, truly.
Yep.
Because the more options you have, the scope of optimization and the more abstract there is. You actually want, in fact, if there was just one locked mode, like I'm playing right now, Kingdom Deliverance 2, I've been playing it while we're talking. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on PS5.
Nib loves throwing that out there at me. He's like, he loves the chat.
Listen, as long as I'm contributing and you don't.
That's right. No, go ahead, Nib. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like my wife. I am listening. I'm listening.
It's selective hearing, Nib. Go ahead. I'm only kidding.
Yeah, but yeah. No, so it only offers one mode, and the mode is 60 frames long, has all the missiles and stuff, and looks, it's actually a really good, because it has the same image quality or better than the quality 30 frames per second mode on PS5, but at 60 frames, like perfect. This is what you want, and I think the reason it runs so well on whatever one of those is because it doesn't have these options and stuff like that. But to J-Dub's point, I don't think in future games you will have I doubt you'll have an option to turn ray tracing off. And again, the reason I prefer that is because then the entire art, design, budgeting team and all the rest of it, the artists, the coders, they can work with that being the option. But obviously, it depends on where PC gaming is, because traditionally it's always been that consoles hold back PC gaming, but we may enter a time next generation where PC gaming is holding back console gaming. Yeah, because console gaming, like the PS6 base, will be able to do.
Nib, I never understood the whole consoles holding back PC. For one,
the baseline.
But PC don't like. If you look at their games that are like PC only games, they're not graphically demanding. I mean, they're all like Dota 2, or they're all some tinky winky shit, right? So it's really about just taking console games and running them on PC. So it's really, PC gamers need to thank the consoles, because if it wasn't for that, like you would, look at the top played PC games. It's all Dota 2, CSGO. It's all non-graphical demanding.
No, I agree.
Right?
Jacob, do you use that language?
That's some
tinky winky shit.
That's a blessing.
You're on some tinky winky shit.
No, the thing is, I need to jump into it because the chat is on this, and it's like, see, this is how I'm going to call it down the line. Some of you are just plain stupid, right? And I'm not going to apologize, right? Because currently, right now, Ghost of Yotei has quality mode, 30 FPS at 4K. It has performance mode, 1440p. Then it has ray tracing pro mode. Okay, how about when the PS6 comes out, because you have all this extra tech and PSSR, you just boot up the game and then you decide: do I want it at 1440p? Do I want it at 4K? What do I want ray tracing on? Do I want ray tracing off? Do I want all these settings? See, that's the difference.
Deathsinger, the one thing though, Deathsinger,
have a base game.
I know what you're saying.
And actually, hang on, I have one further thing, because someone said in the chat, PC. I want options on PC, but I don't want options on. I want the options we have on PC on PlayStation, but to do that, you don't have. There's no such thing as a performance mode on PC. You just go.
But we're talking about next gen, though. Keep in mind. Yeah, so, like my ideal scenario, obviously, path tracing. I doubt we get that 60. It's probably going to be a 30 mode or 40, something like that. Again, if I'm wrong and we get it at 60, fucking hell, I'll be celebrating. But let's just say
DLSS or PSSR.
Possibly, if we do, that will be insane. Like that will be well above my expectations. But say like the 60 mode, the base 60 mode, they do RTGI as standard, right? And I do think that's important. Like RTGI should not be an option that you turn on and off, because it substantially, as we saw with Screed Shadows, it substantially changes the overall look of the game. You know, when you're like an artist, or when just say that you're a director or a cinematographer, whatever, you want a certain look to have. You want every scene to have a certain look, a certain lighting, a certain shading. You're trying to tell a specific scene, emotion, mood, and all the rest of it. You can't just be dilly-dallying and having fucking wildly looking different scenes. It's just not conducive to your vision.
Right.
So I'm saying RTGI should just be the default at 60, and then maybe you have a path tracing option at 40 frames or something like that. But I don't think they should be offering too many options like on PC. Again,
a lot of time, and remember when they do their market research and their study, Deathsinger, the one thing, don't get me wrong, and I know where you're coming from, and because me, Jay, you, Nib has always been on the fence on whether or not he's going to go and spend the money on a PC. But the point I'm trying to say is, I know what you mean.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Nib is off the fence now. But I mean, no. But the thing is when you do the market research and you find out who your customer is, Deathsinger, people buy a console for a specific reason to not have a million options. That's one of the things that people like. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that you have to know your customer. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't open up you can't open a Dairy Queen when your customers are lactose intolerant. You know what I mean? It doesn't.
But how can you want things on console where 75% of PC gamers can't even run that? Like how can you
exactly
be so high when your own platform doesn't even?
The thing is though. You have the choice, right? So you just contradicted yourself in your own statement there, because you have options now, because you have to choose. Do you want performance mode? Do you want ray tracing performance mode? Do you want PS5 Pro mode? Do you want quality mode?
But usually it's only 2 or 3 choices, dude.
Yeah, it's not like 2 or 3 choices. But what happens if you
it's not like there's like 50 million options.
Yeah, but the thing is, what happens if you just release the game? You have the hardware capable, so let the player choose what they want to play at.
But then you're kind of veering away from what console gaming is.
That's what I'm saying. That's not what that customer typically wants.
Exactly, yeah.
True. But then it's like half the time if they just get the game out of the box and put it into their PS6, are they really gonna be like, let me pick which mode I want to go on, or will they just boot up the game and play? Because
so as long as the default mode, like they usually like the console game developer, the default mode is the one that they want.
I can't remember which game it was, but one came out recently. Maybe it was Ghost of Yosa. One of them, when I booted it up, it knew I had the Pro and it was in Pro mode, right? So that's what now I can change it. But it's in Pro mode, and that's similar to what you're saying. I'm going
to be honest. Like I haven't with my PS5 Pro. The only reason I've checked the other modes has been just for the purposes of testing and like X, right? Mm-hmm. But every time I've gone back to the default, pretty much. So I actually personally never choose the 120 frames mode, not just because I don't think I can see that much of a difference, as in terms of the smoothness of the frames, but to me it is never worth the sacrifice in image quality. Like 60 is smooth enough. If you disagree, fine. So the notion that I think we may be on different.
But let's face it, majority of those modes are there. It wasn't for the PS5 Pro. It's for the people who have the regular PS5. You still want those options available for that. So you have 2 different consoles, and you're trying to give the options, and instead of just making like a PS5 only game and a PS5 Pro only game, they meld it together and then they allow you to select it. So I mean, I get it, I understand it. Honestly, it's not even like an argument. It's like now this is the generation, right, where we finally have the performance that we wanted last generation, which was 60 frames standard, right? And then we got ray tracing, we got instant loading, 3D audio, we got the enhanced DualSense haptic feedback. We got all of these things that are meshed together to kind of define this particular generation, where the previous generation didn't really have it. So I think we need to sum it up by that. Now, what's going to happen next generation is a whole nother set of parameters that they're going to have to figure out and sell that to us. I don't know if it's just going to be enhancements to what we already have, or something else like what we didn't have last generation. So I mean, this generation is offering me more than I, wanted. And again, it's good enough. Is it better than the 5090 and all that? No, it's not. Performance wise and stuff like that. But it didn't cost me $5,000 for a GPU.
Right.
So wait, it didn't cost me that.
So here's a situation in the super chat. Hold on a second, Desiree. Let me just, because we were talking about TVs, and this is before we change subject too far. The OA 1988, he comes in. He says a point to consider is that most TVs today are 60 hertz, and the maximum is 120 hertz. So PSSR won't need to go crazy on FPS. If they can add image quality and keep 60 to 70 FPS, 99% of the user base will be more than happy. It's an interesting point. I mean, I think a lot of people, and again, we are all in this bubble in the community where everyone was like, oh, remember when the Samsung or whatever it was, or the LG, the LG CX came out, the OLED, and everyone was taking pictures. I got my 55-inch, 65, I got an 85-inch. And we see everybody over the years that were taking pictures of the TVs, and it seems like everybody's upgraded to that 120 frame capability. But to be honest with you, a lot of people haven't. And I know a lot of PC gamers that I said, like I work with, and they're still playing on 1080p 60 frame monitors because they don't get, honestly, I'm not going to lie to you, they don't give a shit. The games they're playing, they don't give a shit. But they're also not playing the games that you're playing, Death Singer. You know what I mean? So they don't.
Also, to circle back to my original point, when I said there should be just one standard, what I meant was, if you take Ghost of Yotei now, the ray tracing pro mode is 1080p ray trace 60 FPS. The quality mode is 4K at 30. What if you combined the two and you had 4K ray tracing 60 FPS?
What game?
Yeah, that's what they'll do.
Okay.
That is exactly what I said when I meant the standard.
What game?
No, but I meant 120 won't be the standard. That
No. I meant Ghost of Yotei, J-Dub. And the thing is, that's
wait. Hold on. Repeat yourself again with Ghost of Yotei.
Okay, so they have the quality mode, which is 4K 30, right? Then they have the ray tracing pro mode, which is 60 FPS with ray tracing at 1080p.
No, that's not 1080p, sir. That's 1440p.
No, that's 1080p, sir.
That's not 1080p, sir.
Yes, it is.
No, I think are you going by Analista, because I don't think he's always accurate.
That's incorrect, sir. I got a PS5 Pro, and it tells you right here. That's why I'm wondering, where are you getting this information from? There is no Sony first party game that's 1080p, sir.
Base resolution, yeah.
No. I got it right here. My PS5 Pro, sir. I can screenshot, send it to you.
1 second.
Boot up your PS5 Pro. It'll tell you.
Okay, yeah. So, it's base 1080p, but it upscales to 1440p. Thank you, sir. So it is 1080p.
Hold on. Let me ask you something. What is this base and then upscale? They only tell you what the output is. It's no like what are you doing, Death Sinker?
Going to the point where that mode should be folded in with the quality mode, and
I get it.
You have the best of both.
Hold on. Let's rewind a little bit, because you made some accusations.
That Singer's going back. He's going back to the checkerboard technology.
Yo.
He said,
How are you gonna say? Are we? See, this is what I understand about PC guys, right? When they use DLSS, right? And their games are 720p and it upscales it to a higher resolution 4K or 1440p or whatever. They never mention what that base is. But when it comes to console, these guys will always go, well, internally, it's a base 1080p, and then it like cares. It's like, what is it? What is the mode? Is it 1440p output or is it 4K output? Like, don't like what are we doing here? Why do we have to when it comes to console?
I always
Okay, so it's so basically it's a 1440p 60 frames a second game for that mode with ray tracing, basically, right? Okay.
Yes.
Where the hell you get this 1080p from, and why did you even say 1080p in the first place? Now I know you're gonna compare it to when if it was on a PC, this would be a 1080. But like that's not what we do. That's
hey,
like
G-Dub, I'm gonna need you to slow the fuck down, right?
Here we go, Jay. Here we go,
G-Dub, for one, it's a fact. It's 1080p upscaled, right? That's just a reality. Deal with it.
Okay, cool. Who says that? Okay. Who says that?
Okay, it's a reality.
I'm asking you because I got the game right in front of me, brother.
Yeah,
shit about 1080p. So I'm asking you, where did you get besides when
the game released, Digital Foundry did the review on it, and they were telling you
I want to interject.
Go ahead.
The base resolution of RT Pro mode is 1080p. I think it's variable between 1080p and 40p, but yeah, 1080p is the base.
Right, exactly. Okay.
But listen.
I get what you're saying.
You heard
I get what you're saying.
Right? I was very clear and precise what I said. I said,
I agree. The base resolution.
Gaming, when it comes to console gaming, PC guys always
I agree with that.
The minimum, which the minimum could be one scene, right? But and the rest could be 4K. But when it comes to PC, they will never tell you what the base is on it. They will never tell you the Black Myth Wukong on his 5070 Ti.
He is right, because even DLSS is labeled like DLSS 1440, right? So when people are or DLSS 4K, all throughout my entire life, right? When I hear PC gamers, I'm running it at DLSS 4K, right? That's how it's advertised. I've never heard someone say, I'm running it at, base 1080p or...
But the thing is, when I was talking about the two different modes, I just referred to it as 1080p because the last memory I have of watching what it was performance was when I was watching a Digital Foundry video and they were like, base resolution. So I was just thinking in that terms, but it still doesn't neglect my point.
No, but in terms of actual output, let's just say real world output is closer to 40.
Well, yeah, output is 1440p, but I said
4K in terms of the clarity.
But that still does not negate my point, which is that mode and the quality mode should be combined together on the PS6, and that should become the standard. So you should have.
Yeah, I think that's what they'll do. Yes.
Yeah. That's
4K,
more than likely true.
That should be a base. They shouldn't. Like, you shouldn't have two modes now, or three modes for whether you want the quality or the performance.
I'll be honest, with these options and stuff like this, I thought the whole purpose of the upscaling technology that was available this generation that ended up being better, obviously was more mature than it was last generation on the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro, right? But I thought the technology got to the point again where it's good enough to where you can take an image that's 1080p and upscale it to 1440p and give it 60 frames and ray tracing and everything else to where the quality looks good enough to where it's like almost indistinguishable and it'll be enough to carry the game where it looks great or whatever. And I thought that defined this generation. But now it's like, are we taking it a step further and saying, no, we don't want that. We want native 4K, we want native, like all of this, because again, when you revert back to PC, for those who spend $2,500 and $5,000 for 5090s, and they turn on DLSS 4.5 or whatever, right? All of that, when they turn that on, and I'm just trying to understand, why isn't that same logic applied? We're at the point where this is good enough. If you spend $399 for a PS5, right? Or $699 for a PS5 Pro, this is good. It's giving you good enough, right? When you look at Ghost of Yotai on your TV, it looks fucking amazing. It looks, nobody ever said, "Oh man, I wish it would have had a little bit more resolution. I wish it would have." Like, nobody says that. It's like, this game is fucking amazing. It's one of the best looking games out there. So all of the nitpicking and stuff like that, I think that's mental.
I'm going to be honest. When I was testing Ghost of Yotai, and I was switching between the modes, even me, I could barely tell the resolution difference. I was like, God damn! Like, this whatever black magic they've done here, like, it actually is supremely good image quality. For such a low base resolution, like they killed it. They killed it.
But also to Corey Massey in the chat, the thing is, like, you got it completely wrong. You don't want to hear PC gamers talk about DLSS of 4K because we know it's not base 4K. That's been obvious for fucking years. I don't know where you've been, my guy. I don't know what planet you've been living on, but, like, DLSS has been the thing for ages, and that's how most people consume 4K. Like, when you refer to 4K, that doesn't mean they're running out. But I'm right. I don't.
Well, you said yourself 2022 is when DLSS 2.0 came out, so not that long, to be fair.
It's well known though. If I say I'm running it at 4K 120 FPS, you know I'm using DLSS. That shouldn't be a spoken thing. That should be auto to gamers. Oh yeah, he's using DLSS.
And I think we've said this, but shout out to TCMF. I hope he's doing well. He's been on the show many times. TC, we're gonna get you back on here. He says every game is different and requires different levels of power. PS5 games will run better on PS6, but you're not gonna get path tracing native 4K 60 FPS on PS6. Maybe maybe in a quality mode with a sweating emoji. Shout out to Zigzag Gaming. He's back. He goes, Nvidia didn't become a $1 trillion company for the PC brokies. Intel and AMD will fill that space, Death Singer. That was when we were back talking about.
That's what I said. That's why I said they'll fill the space.
Shout out to Zigzag. Danelle Brown's back. He says, I enjoyed it. You know I'm a Raiders fan. Yeah, I know you're a Raiders fan, which, by the way, Danelle, stick to your Dodger bad-mouthing to the Mets. But your Raiders have nothing on these Giants. But go ahead, Dessinger.
The thing is, it's like, of course, AMD and Intel will fill the space because Intel has come in. Now their graphics cards are improving rapidly. Like, right now, their graphics cards are half the price of Nvidia's, and they give, for what they are, they give good performance. Now they've still got a long way to go, but it's like they already have their own upscaling technology, XeSS, and they're working on that. So obviously, the three choices you have on PC currently is DLSS, FSR, and then XeSS. So Intel is getting in there, and I think Intel will dominate the lower end gaming market. AMD will fit the mid range, and then Nvidia will just focus on like the high end, the top range. And it's. Do you think there's
Dessinger? Do you think
that's the way it's going to shake out?
Dessinger, do you think there's going to be a delay in what we'll call a 6090? Do you think it'll be?
No, I'm not.
We should have had a 60 series by now.
I think no. It's well,
that's usually every 2 years, Jay, right?
They're gonna do the 50 Super Series because remember they did the 40.
Oh,
then they did.
They delayed that too,
and then they did the 50s. So they're gonna do the 50s.
When do you expect the 50 Super Series to come out? 26 or 27?
Rumors are it's supposed the announcements this year. Who knows at this point because the RAM situation thing going on. They might choose to delay. AMD are supposed to announce their new line of CPUs this year. We're already in this year, and they still haven't announced it. So I don't know what these companies are up to right now. And the people that I follow on Twitter who know what what they're doing and what they get through down the pipeline and through the leaks, they're unsure, and I think it's because this whole RAM situation's appeared. So they're like, well, we don't know what to do now. Do we release our new line? Do we not release our new line? Do we wait? Do we not wait? So because bear in mind it affects everything, because RAM is in everything. Like this shit's gonna trickle down to TVs, it's gonna trickle down to your smart fridge, anything that uses RAM is gonna trickle down to. So it's gonna be interesting. I think the 60 series will probably come 2027, and the Super series will release this year, if they release this year, because they're supposed to release the Super series, because they did it with the 40.
Damn. Okay. Shit.
Because it's a great way to make a bit of extra money, give you a bit more VRAM.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of 12 gigs, you'll have 16 gigs, and they'll jack the price up by like 200 or 300 or whatever. Because it's like, well, when you look at the 4080 and then the 4080 Super, the Super is obviously a bit better, but I mean, I could see them doing the 50 Super series.
So shout out to Craig Harris, Craig the tech guy. He says, in quotes, PS5 Pro is more powerful than a 4090. Craig Harris has been...
That was hilarious.
Yeah, the thing is, only one person actually ever said that. Literally only one person on some podcast.
It was some podcast.
And everyone corrected him on the podcast. Everyone else corrected him. So I was like, there's always going to be one. But I was going to say, interesting, DLSS 4K performance actually has a base resolution of 1080p, and DLSS 1440p has a base resolution of 720p. But again, you never hear anyone ever say that.
but you set the base resolution.
Yeah, but that's the default. That's the default.
Yeah, but obviously, if it depends on when you go into it, you're like, okay, let me put it onto the base. But it's like, if I have a 1440p, right? I choose to play at 1440p. So when
you choose your base resolution for.
Yes, and then I upscale to 4K. Yeah.
Yeah, so that means you're using the equivalent of DLSS quality. Okay.
Yes, that is what I do. And then if I'm playing a multiplayer game, I use DLSS performance, because I'll be honest, I don't really give a shit about graphics when I'm running around shooting people online. I really don't care. If I'm playing a single player RPG, though, I care. So
at the Terabinth, he says, if the PS6 is delayed, I would like for Sony to upgrade the node to 2 nanometers from 3 nanometers for final production of the launch model. A decent power bump. I think he's saying if the PS6 is delayed, then make it so that he's going to rob Peter to pay Paul. I mean, he's saying upgrade the node.
I don't think they have that option.
I don't personally know if that's possible. Yeah, I don't know.
They have to do it years in advance, so I don't think they could just switch up on the fly.
Yeah, I don't think you can do anything with console on the fly. Typically,
because they have to be printing these bitches in the millions,
right?
Like,
yeah, but they won't have started printing them yet. So I think the rumor is that production is starting in 2027. Funnily enough, the rumor is that PlayStation is leaving things closer to the last minute. And I know there was a thing with Paris Lilly, like he was saying, oh, they're not going to do that because of developers and dev kits. And I actually tweeted him. I said, well, funny enough, what's his name? I forgot the name. Shu and what's the guy they shared the game with the Killzone? This is how you share a game on PS5.
Oh,
PS4.
Adam Boyes.
Adam Boyes. Yeah. He did an interview and he actually said that they decided just before Sony did his presentation, which I believe was 9 months before the PS5 came out, or it was roughly a year before the PS5 came out. That is when they decided to put 8 gigabytes instead of 4. And up until that point, even third-party developers shared that they only were working 4 gigabyte. And there was a few from third-party developers who said maybe only the first-party developers knew that it was going to be 8 gigabytes. But I have a feeling even the first-party developers, or at least some of them, did not know either, because I don't know if you remember, but Digital Foundry did an analysis of Killzone Shadowfall's first gameplay. And Guerrilla Games actually put out a SIGGRAPH presentation about it, the first demo that they did. And funny enough, the total RAM use was 4 gigabyte. It was like 3 point something for the rendering stuff and the rest for the OS. So why would you work 4 gigabyte if you going to have 8. They must have thought they were having 4 as well. The point is, PlayStation does have precedence of leaving hardware sort of design decisions very late based on market dynamics. So even a year before the PS6 comes out, we could theoretically get changes to the hardware, whether it's because of RAM prices. It has happened.
Well, that was an ending. You ended quite abruptly there, Nib. That was like the quickest, like wham. He's like, and that's how it'll be, and that's how you debate, and then you just ended it right there. I was like, okay, great.
I got one question.
Go ahead.
Is there a scenario, because the memory price and Nvidia focusing on AI and everybody else focusing on AI and stuff like that, and is there a scenario where the PS6 launches before Nvidia's next generation card?
No.
You don't see it. And
well, I mean, we were going by Death Singer. So Death Singer gave a timetable, Jay, and he said his expectation, which I think it holds water. As a matter of fact, early 2027 would be the 60 series. When I say early, I mean springtime. So if we follow Death Singer's line, which I don't think he's that wild at all, I think he's pretty spot on. If that's the case, or it could be even late 2026. I don't. Even if we were all to agree that PS6 comes out November 2027, hypothetically, the next series cards would be out.
The thing is, it's like let's take the 4090, right? That was released in 2022. Now the 5090 was released in 2025.
Right.
Now, in between those two, they had the 40 Supers release, right? So in between the two mainline, they had the Supers in between, the 40 Supers, the 60, the 70, and the 80. So what they're going to do is, if they keep up with this cadence, which they've always done, then if they do the 40 Super, then the 50, they should do the 50 Super, then the 60.
But let me ask you this, right? Let's say that happens, and everything that's going on right now, right? They're saying, hey, nothing's really going to change for the next few years. Is there anybody to even buy these cards when they release? Because, I mean, right now, a 5090 is going $5,000 and, and so on and so on. Do you think people are still going to pay those prices? Is there going to be anybody to even buy them? Or people just going to be like, what I got is good enough. I'm just going to stick with what I have.
A lot of people will upgrade just because they want the latest and greatest. They're just that way inclined. Like if you're a baller PC gamer with one of the top,
that's a small percentage, though, Dustin, especially for that price point.
But for like most people, they're going to stay with what they got, right? Because there's general 2 lines of thinking with PC gaming. If it still runs my games, I don't need to upgrade.
That's right.
Like if the games still run at 120 FPS, the newest games releasing, if these games still run at 120 FPS at the resolution I want, I don't need to upgrade. When I can no longer run new games at 120 FPS at 1440p. Now it's time to upgrade because now I'm forced to do what I specifically want. So currently, if there's that, and that is my view, and tons of people share that same sentiment. There's people who always want to upgrade, but then there's the subset that doesn't want to upgrade. They'll upgrade when they're forced to. So I think this card it'll be niche again. It'll be like 1% of PC gamers will buy the 6090, but most people will just stick with the 50 or the 40 because it's perfectly fine, and upgrade when you have to. Because it's always constantly fluid. It's not like going from a PS4 to a PS5 or a PS3 to a PS4. It's everyone's an individual, so it's up to you personally. Do you want to upgrade? So it's really hard to tell.
So let me ask you guys a question. And I don't mean to switch over, but I wanted to hit a couple more topics real quick here. Battlefield 6, like I wish Slow-Mo was here for it. A lot of people give me a lot of slack because I ended up buying Battlefield 6. I played it. I definitely need to play it more. It's, the thing that people get pissed off at people in Call of Duty, they're like, are you camping? Are you camping? Like, but now in Battlefield 6, the way I'm learning the gameplay is I don't mean it in the same logical sense, but there's a lot of camping. And so, but anyways, so here we are. Battlefield 6 came out, took the world by storm. Probably one of the best Battlefields in a long time for a lot of Battlefield fans. So shout out to everyone that enjoys it. But now they're saying that Battlefield 6 Season 2 is delayed till February 17th. Do you guys think that a lot of people are going to kind of revert over to back to ARC or go back to Call of Duty? People are pissed off. There is no update for another month. This will be I think it's 2 months now, or it'll be longer since there's been an update. I think some people are losing a little bit of faith in this game again. And I mean, is it losing its numbers? I mean, Red Sex also their battle royale is not going to get an update also until February 17th. We haven't even gotten to January 17th yet, so it's a month yet from a month waiting. What do you guys think about Battlefield 6? Where are you guys on where it was when it launched and the hype to where it is today?
I think like what I said earlier in the beginning when Shlomo was here. I just think people reverted back to what they did previously until an update will come, and then they'll go jump in and try it again. I think, man, and I want to say, I'm just going to throw a number out there. Let's say 5 years ago, something happened where it's like, hey, people just drew a line. This is my shooter. This is my shooter. I'm not going to, this is my default. Yeah. I'll go and try other stuff and I'll play it for a while, but I'm always coming back to this, whether it's Fortnite, COD, whatever. And that's what it is. And so when you see those articles that come out and say, Battlefield 6 lost 80% of its players.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see that. And then they'll release some content and 80% will come back. Because the same thing happened with Helldivers 2. The same thing happened with even like Fortnite. But Fortnite has, they constantly got updates and new celebrities and new anime characters and all this stuff to keep it going. But that little time after they announce it and after it releases, a couple of weeks, and then little by little you'll see it dip, and then people move. People will just go somewhere else, and then they'll come right back as soon as they announce a new
update or whatever. Yeah. I mean, so
and that's just the day and age that we're in, man.
There's no
loyalty.
No, you're right, Jay. There's that ebb and flow. So I do agree with you. The one thing about Battlefield is Battlefield really has, and Detzinger, I want to ask you, because I know that a lot of people that you hang out with in your Discord play Battlefield, and I know a lot of those folks as well, and they're like, Mooch, you got to get into it. You got to get into it. You got to get more into it. And I enjoy it. I really do. And I it's funny because I'll level up and run through some of the multiplayer on Call of Duty to get different skins on guns and level up weapons so I can have them in loadouts for Warzone, etc., things like that. I don't even mind grinding like that on solo for a bit. I actually really, really enjoy it. I don't like playing Battlefield solo at all. I definitely need a squad. You know what I mean? Playing with friends is a lot more fun. What about your Discord, Destinger? Are people a little pissed off with Battlefield 6 not having an update for quite some time?
No, it's not even pissed off. It's just like, other games, other things, because everyone's a hardcore game, right? And you have your select multiplayer games that you'll never drop. But it's like in Battlefield's case, for example, right now, concurrent players, like Baldur's Gate 3 has more, and 24-Hour Peak has more, which is a single player. Arguably, you could say it's a co-op game as well. Yeah. But it's clocking in more players than a Battlefield 6. And that's just, people have left it because they're going to play what they normally play. Because Battlefield 6 is like, it's great, but also bear in mind, it's been a while since a good Battlefield has come out. Because 2042 soured a lot of people on Battlefield.
Absolutely.
So, of course, people came into 6 with a side eye, but bear in mind, ever since Battlefield fell off, other games have released which could film the same niche as what Battlefield does. Because it's not a Call of Duty, it's completely, fundamentally different in its style of gameplay.
Absolutely, 100%.
Whereas Call of Duty is 3 lanes, and you kill everyone, whereas Battlefield is literally a battlefield. So, you have planes, you have jets, you have tanks, you have fucking everything all over the place, way more players on the map. So it's a lot different, and I think a lot of people who tried it like some of those Call of Duty people where they're like, oh, I don't like this game. And then they went back to Call of Duty. And you're never going to switch from Call of Duty. Don't even kid yourself or lie to your fan base. But, it's like people are locked in on COD and they just won't give Battlefield a try. And because their last outing was crap, a lot of people turned a side eye. And I just think it's going to maintain a stable fan base. When the update drops, it'll shoot up and then it'll go back down to what it currently is. I just think it'll just maintain. It's not going to die. It's just going to maintain a stable fan base, which will be on the smaller side, but it is what it is.
Yeah, no, 100%. I do think it'll be all right. Nib, I know you don't. Nib doesn't really. Well, I know Nib, and I guess you play multiplayer, Nib, but I don't know if you've got.
Yeah, I do. I do play Battlefield 6, but I can't. I will speak to it beyond my casual playing of it. I do think they've kind of dropped the ball a bit here because just going by the data, not my subjective opinion, it had really high engagement to begin with. And it is it's not purely their fault because obviously ARC Raiders came and stole a lot of the limelight as well, which, let's be fair, even Call of Duty is struggling this year a bit. And I know that's not the case when you go by Call of Duty HQ, because like I said, it's not really a clear metric because it's combining more games and the Warzone, so it's never going to give you a clear indicator of how the latest release is doing. But yeah, Battlefield 6 went from obviously sales are amazing, like number 2, in the United States, and whatever it is, 3, I think. It's higher than Call of Duty in both the United States and EU, but in terms of engagement numbers, it went from like top 3, top 2, top 5. And now, as far as I remember, the last time I saw, it's further down.
It's much further down, yeah.
Almost out of the top 10. And that does show, and whereas ARC Raiders is climbing up, right?
Yep.
So clearly they have dropped one. This is what I mean, that the multiplayer game is so cutthroat. We saw it with Halo as well. Like, you can have a really competent multiplayer gameplay-wise, but unless you have that constant stream of like, the carrot on the stick that the consumers are going to want, I need to unlock this, I want this. And I don't just mean like the paid stuff, but free stuff as well, that they're just going to leave. Like, they're just you that constant like content update upheaval, and it has to be really compelling content. It can't be just the mill content. And yeah, I would say they've dropped that. Like, how can you put so much money into this huge thing and you finally dethrone Call of Duty in sales?
That's the thing.
Of like so long. This is what they wanted for
Nib,
so long.
you and Jay love your racing games at all times. Even when Battlefield took the helm, in the rearview mirror was Call of Duty in one of their worst years. And this is another situation where, yes, ARC Raiders are still holding very, very strong up there. But you have a situation where Call of Duty is right there looming, and they have their season. Their seasons are on cue, on time. Yeah. It's like that. It's like I always joke around it, but I'm not really joking. There's a lot of different places in New York that has very mediocre pizza, but they're very consistent. It's always hot and it's always on time. So when the one favorite place you have, Nib, is closed for the night, what do? You call that next place, and then maybe you don't call the other place because they're just not open enough. This is a situation where Battlefield is in a very tricky state. Like you said, there's a lot of games. Marathons around the corner. Extraction shooters are taking away from the traditional, people are like, oh, you got to play Battlefield. You got to play Battlefield. Battlefield is it's domination. Everyone plays Conquest. It's a massive game of domination. It's not like they're bringing something really new. The thing that's new is the destructive environments, right? The more realistic.
That's not new.
Well, no, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say new. Different to the playing field, right? So when you were playing other games that came out like X Defiant before, or you're playing Call of Duty, or you're playing these other games, you could shoot the wall to your blue in the face. The wall doesn't crumble. Call of Battlefield has enhanced that and made that better.
Levelation.
Right? They have levelation, if they want to call it that. That's fantastic. They also have more realistic sounding guns, looking guns. They also pride themselves on not having, Seth Rogen running around with a gun. Okay, they have right. So that's fine. But I mean, and people give me shit for that all the time. They're like, oh yeah, Mooch, you're like Seth Rogen, and you're gonna be Beavis and Butthead. It's like, but I don't care about the actual skin in that sense. But yeah, but now you have a situation, Detzinger, where this game is going to take us a break, basically. It's taking a break at a very critical time. And I'm wondering if people are going to drop.
The field is strong right now because Marvel Rivals is doing really, really well. It's still going strong. And that's because they have a constant update. Their release cadence has been absolutely great because they keep releasing. Bear in mind, they have an entire arsenal of the MCU. Every Marvel character going to bring into the game, so they've got another 20 years of content ready to go, and you got all the skins and whatnot, and you got all your favorite, depending on what you want to do. So, like Marvel Rivals is going, Arc Raiders is doing absolutely fantastic on PC, which is expected because everyone wants to play Escape from Tarkov, but it's too hardcore. So what you do? You play the casual version of Escape from Tarkov, which is Arc Raiders. So now you've snagged both bases. You've got the hardcore people and the not hardcore people. So Arc Raiders came at the best time possible. Because these people want to get into Tarkov, like me, but it's way too frustrating, too hardcore. So let's play Arc Raiders, because it's, much more casual. Now, this is where Marathon might run into a problem, is because now the people are fragmenting into these set games. Like if you want a team-based shooter, you've got Marvel Rivals, which is going super strong. Overwatch is kind of dying on the side. If you want an extraction shooter, Arc Raiders is there. Then you have the traditional like CS:GO and whatnot, and Valorant, and that takes care of the more strategic shooters. So it's like, how are you going to break into this? And Battlefield is fantastic, and currently it's doing better numbers than COD on Steam, for what it is. But bear in mind, this isn't COD's strongest release. I mean,
It's
Black Ops
not, no.
7 is like, this thing is hot garbage compared to 6. I mean, I'm just going to call it what it is. You may as well just play 6. But the thing is, it's like, I don't think you can penetrate this market now because most of the people have settled into these games, and I don't think you're going to be able to drag them from it.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you guys this. I want to go hot topic here real quick. So this made some news.
I don't agree with that, by the way, Dessing.
What don't you agree with?
I think every king has his reign, and eventually, don't get me wrong, I get it. I get Call of Duty has been the head honcho for a long time, just like Halo was, just like Quake was, just like, what's the other one I used to play? That was Unreal Tournament and everything, and even
Quake.
Yeah, Quake. So don't get me wrong, like sometimes they can hold their fort time, and I'm not saying Call of Duty is over. It could be running for, but I think if something compelling enough or whatever does come along, then tables could still turn. I think we're at that point in the market where maybe a bit of Call of Duty fatigue is finally starting to set in.
Call of Duty fatigue is definitely kicking in. Just
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's opportunity, right?
But that's what I mean. It's like, thing is, if you want
you have to strike when it's hot.
If you want to take away the opportunity, see, Arc Raiders already came out before, so Arc Raiders now has taken a lot of shine and taken a lot of the space up. It's gone, let me suck in all these people that have don't like Call of Duty anymore, and they're like, oh, my favorite streamer's playing this game. Wow, this game's actually good. Holy shit. And if they do good on the updates, Arc Raiders is just going to stay strong forever because so the thing is, it's like,
they have been amazing on the updates as well. Like even little things like the King, the new King enemy, and like just it's just stuff that like makes you really want to invest, right? It's just
which game? Which game are you talking about, Nip?
Arc Raiders.
Arc Raiders is spot on. Every single Tuesday there's an update. Now, some people will complain about the skins, this and that, but they have the community page is alive and happening. They've got multiple X accounts that are paying attention to everything. I will say one thing. You've got a lot of people pissed off. There's all the people that were playing Battlefield and Call of Duty that are over on Arc Raiders now. The cheaters are over there. And honestly, you have all the big streamers really pissed off.
About the cheating?
Yeah. You have Shroud. Well, you have there's stream sniping. And you might go, well, that happens, Mooch. That's just something that streamers do.
That just happens.
But the problem, but this is a little different. That singer. This is a case where
you just said when that happens, Mooch. Do you often talk to yourself, Mooch?
Oh, well, I always talk to myself in the third person on the show. On the show, anyway. On the show.
It's he's consoling himself.
Yeah, like I don't talk to myself while I'm ordering myself a sandwich. Mooch doesn't like hot peppers. What? No, I don't do that. But I mean, it's you know this, Nib. But you have like Shroud and you have the Peanut and a bunch of people saying we've now been getting stream sniped by the same people over and over again. So it's the same. You're not banning the people that we're showing you are cheating. So they're saying, wait, we're doing our job of reporting. You're not doing your job of, right.
Yep.
So the problem is you have a lot of streamers saying if they wrote Embark, they're all over Twitter today. And they were saying, if you don't take care of this, we're going to stop streaming this game because it's no fun, to be honest with you. We're out in the middle of doing our thing and people know where we are and we're just getting killed. Do you know what I mean? We're getting, and groups are killing them.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
That's
really
stream sniping has always been the thing, though. That's
it
why,
has.
for
It
example,
has. Yes.
If you watch League of Legends streamers, for example, they always have the minimap hidden. Like they always have it hidden from the stream. So no one can see what's actually going on the rest of the map. Because what they find is people will watch the stream and then tell the person who's in the game what they're doing, where they are. So what they've done now is they've started covering the map so you can't see what everyone else is doing. So obviously you can't do that in Arc Raiders because there isn't like any map for thing, but you can match into people's games. You could be like, oh, look, that's Shroud. Quick,
right.
Where to is he? Where to is he on the map? Let's run over there and set an ambush real quick, for example. And people are just dicks, and they'll do that. And they've always done that. They've done that for years. That's nothing new.
I think, though, like I say, that's nothing new. But like I say, Detzinger, if we were getting that, and you're getting that from the same users over and over and over again, then you realize that they're not correcting they're not trying to correct the problem.
That is Embark's. They need to get on that. And
they really do.
Before the streamers decide to pick it up and go
because
to something
let's
else.
Be honest, I've been saying this on this channel for a long time. You've got to give credit where credit's due, and these streamers are adding a lot of popularity to these games, right? So every time you go on TikTok or you go on YouTube Shorts and you're scrolling through, especially if you're in the gaming community, you may not even follow the individual, but some of these big streamers are on your feed, you know what I mean, because of the game you might like or a game you looked into. And once these people stop making that content, you have a lot of people playing Arc Raiders because of the burnt peanut, and like it's like he's tired of not being listened to, and he's not even asking a big demand. It's, hey, fix the game, or at least try. You know what I mean? Show me you're trying, because it's not fun to go out there and have that happen to you, especially by the same exact. You're right, Detzinger. This has been happening for a long while. I'm not bringing it up because it's new news, but usually it doesn't happen by the same user base.
Right, which means Embark needs to start actively acting on it. Otherwise, they're going to lose all this goodwill and streamers that they have streaming their game, right? Because at the end of the day, that's free advertisement. That's free.
That's the thing. It's free advertisement.
That is just free ad.
Yeah.
Having all these big streamers streaming games.
Of these,
bear in mind, they have hundreds of thousands, millions of people watching their streams. So of course that's free adverts.
Yeah.
So of course you want to keep these people on your game as long as possible.
Some of them have upwards of 200,000 people watching per day. At the end, if you go onto their channels and look at their VODs the next day, they have 1 million views. Like it's insane.
Look at what XQC did for Sea of Thieves, one of the big streamers. Single-handedly basically resurrected the game, right?
Yeah.
And that's the power of the big streamers, and the game they should know this. So I don't know why they're not acting on like banning these stream snipers, because otherwise these people are going to go to the next thing. Because that's the power they have. They could be like, "Fuck you, done with your game, whatever." Right. I got other things to do,
and that sucks. This is my job. That sucks for everybody because people enjoy the content as well.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just
the cost to have like 200,000 views or million views. The cost in terms of advertising, if you are on TV show or
oh my
something
god,
like that would be astronomical.
Yes.
So like, yeah, you do not want to lose that. Like, that's insane.
It's unbelievable advertising, Nib, and you're not costing them a nickel. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know,
they're doing it for free just because they're playing your game.
Yeah,
like
it's really wild.
Okay, sure. You gave them the game for free. That's what, 70. Okay, you just lost 70, but think of how many copies you sold because of this streamer.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you it's more than what that 70
wild.
cost you.
Wild. You know?
and I also bet you it's more than what that chair cost you. Shout out to Cyberpunk. You know?
It's great. So let me ask J-Dub, I got a question for you, Jay. So it was recently released that Project Mara of Ninja Theory. Now, I know a lot of people are going to turn around and immediately say, that was never a game. It was just a tech demo. That's fine. But a lot of people were thinking that would have metamorphosized itself into a game. The thing about it, though, is like I'm seeing more cuts from what Microsoft acquired than games coming out in a sense from some of these teams. And it's like, yeah, now you're seeing, we go, well, Mooch, no, last year was good, this year is good. Yeah, we had a lot of dry years in between. Now, the problem with Ninja Theory is they said they're focused on Hellblade 3. Hellblade 2 didn't do well. Who's greenlighting Hellblade 3? Am I wrong in that? I mean, I have no interest in Hellblade 3.
I agree.
Listen.
It was literally a fart in the wind.
It was.
I don't personally get it.
You know, can we get a new IP?
Yeah, I'll be honest, Mooch. You know, you're not wrong,
right?
Microsoft spent close to $100 billion when you think of ZeniMax and the ABK deal. They bought up a huge amount of publisher, not only just publisher, but all the development teams that come under that, all the IP that they own. And I get it. They have released a lot of games, but let's face it, most of those games we knew about, and they were already there before ABK bought it. I mean, before ABK was purchased and before ZeniMax. Those are games that were already coming. They were already there.
That's right.
I haven't seen anything post acquisition that we have lined up, or that, you know. And I get it. A lot of development teams, got. I mean, let's face it, man. Turn 10 is gone, right? For the most part, they're helping on Fable, I guess.
I was gonna say they're working with other teams, yeah.
So that's gone. They got rid of Tango. Tango
GameWorks was gone.
One of the most successful or highly rated and touted IP.
And they picked up, I mean, these are some of the smaller teams, but I'm glad we're bringing them up, Jake, because everyone always talks about ZeniMax, everyone always talks about ABK, but they picked up Double Fine, which I thought Psychonauts 2 I loved very much. I played it thoroughly. And then they came out with Keeper that came out a short time ago, and I played good 3-4 hours of it. That game, if you're having a hard time sleeping, try that.
I mean, to be fair,
that'll knock you right out.
What game was that?
Keeper.
It's Keeper. But
that game is horrendously boring.
You also have to bear in mind that is their MO, though. That's always been Double Fine's MO.
Okay, hold on. Dead Thinker. Here's the thing. This is the thing I have with you, brother. My good brother. This is the thing I have with you. And it's not you personally. It's just you always say this when it comes to these guys. You say this is their MO. This is what they've always done. And I'm thinking, hey, it's 2026, right? I understand Bethesda has that Bethesda charm where it's the jank, it's the loading screen, it's all of this old stuff. It's the charm. But it's like, it's 2026. Can we get with the times with a lot of stuff? Like, that charm is no longer there anymore.
But it's up to the devs. The thing is, it's like, if you...
who owned the devs?
I think that MO argument is a quick way to your studio getting shut.
It's silencing the critics. The game that I played back in the 360 era should not be the same game that I'm playing in 2026. It should not.
The thing is, Double Fine have the option of doing that, but they choose not to.
Who is pulling the purse strings? Phil, somebody, Sarah Bond or somebody.
Somebody's
need to go in there and say, guys, Those days are over. You're not just gonna make this shit just because you want to and just how you want to. Get with the fucking
exactly
time.
what Phil said. Phil said that. He said we want them to make the games they want to make.
So you're telling me they want to
he
make games
mandated
that don't fail.
Yeah, but wasn't there a story that came out quite some time ago that what was it, Playground Games didn't want to do Fable, and Phil's like, you're gonna do it?
Yep.
But I think
that's completely the opposite.
But then again, are we surprised of mixed messaging?
No, not at all.
Come on, now.
Right, not at all. But I mean, when it comes to like Double Fine, like make you want to stop with Hellblade 3, make Psychonauts 3. At least people liked it.
Well, the thing is, it's like, see, that's another contradiction, right? Because it's like, who greenlit Hellblade 3 when Hellblade 2 didn't do that well? And this is the thing. It's like Double Fine are allowed to put out Keeper, but then you also greenlit Hellblade 3. And this is why I prefer something like, shout out to In Exile, right? In Exile, Clockwork Revolution. It looks fantastic, and this is outside of their wheelhouse. This is something new for them, because normally they're known for the Wasteland series, which is
it may be great. It may turn out to be great. They're trying something new.
That's right.
Yeah, they're trying something new. And Obsidian is kind of trying something a bit different. Avowed is a bit different from what their usual games are.
It's the same shit, man.
But the thing is, it's like, people are stepping outside, but Double Fine is allowed. It seems to be they're allowed to do what they've always done. Like, they're not stepping outside their comfort zone, and I don't know why. If it's a design, if it's a dev issue, or if it's they're being mandated to you're not allowed to make $100 million game. I mean, it could be that.
It doesn't have to be 100. Here's the thing: not every game needs to be 100 million, 200, 300 million.
Well, no.
Perfect example. Look at the game that just won Game of the Year, right? That was made by how many people? A handful of people, right? It doesn't have to be $100 million. It's something new. It's something refreshing. But if you're still falling on, this is just the type of games they make. This is what they just like to make. Your whole resume shouldn't be summed up by just this one generic style of game. Malik got it in the chat, said it. Naughty Dog went from making Crash Bandicoot games to Uncharted. PlayStation Studios went from making Spyro the Dragon to making Wolverine and Spider-Man and stuff. Like, you can grow, right? You can do something different. You don't always have to just be stuck in this. And I feel like Bethesda, all of their studios are just stuck in this rut of making the same type of game, no matter what kind of polish they throw on it. It's literally the same. The fact that we had Starfield released, right, which is a next generation only game, great graphics, but guess what? It still had the loading screens in the same shit from the Fallout series. Like, it's like, guys, enough with it. Can you grow? Can you do something different? Get out of that. You should be able to have a diverse array or a portfolio of games where it's like they're all just the same. They're just cookie cutters.
To be honest, though, Bethesda's case is Todd Howard's head is completely up his own ass, and he refuses to drop that dogshit engine, that creation engine he's using. That's why the game has the same fucking issues for the past 20 years. They keep using the same engine. They refuse to move to something else, and they want to.
And gamers have to fix it. And gamers have to go in and mod it.
And the reason is they keep using the same engine, so it has the same exact issue. Nothing's resolved. They called it Creation Engine 2.0. It has the exact same problems you had back when Fallout 3 released. The thing is, it's like they refuse to innovate. That's Bethesda's problem. They are so stubborn and stuck in their way. And it's Todd Howard's fault. Let's keep it. He's the head of the studio.
I agree with that.
He is so stuck on, I am a visionary, I am this, but your dogshit engine is holding you back. But
the thing is, though, remember, Todd being there now, Detzinger, is holding everything back because Todd I think, is checked out. He's doing Hollywood right now. You know what I mean? He's out there. His name is literally the second or third name in the credits right as soon as the show airs. I mean, he's loving every minute of it.
he's trying to be Neil Druckmann without winning the Goaties.
That is
without
correct.
having the Goaties.
That's 100% correct.
If you're gonna do that, at least go out, win a game of the year, and then go do it, right?
Yeah.
You don't just throw out a bunch of duds and have the nerve enough to
I'll give you, you know what, Jay, I'm right there with you, but I'll even make it easier for him. Make Fallout 3 remaster or remake again.
You know
give
what
us
is,
that at least.
I know this might be a bit.
Give us something.
This might be a bit Consorian, and it almost seems like a lot of these big like publishers, right? We can hear, like I just put on the internet quoting that happened in the discovery part of the legal case that there, and he's saying that Xbox's management or results or whatever. You know what? Let me not misinform. Let me just might as well just give the exact quote. So his exact quote was,
I got breaking news as well whenever you're done.
Oh, nice. All right. Yeah, so he said, here's a little more from Korea. Indeed, Activision Blizzard's actual operating results in 2024 and 2005, keep in mind that is post-Xbox, right? Xbox took over in 2023. Activision Blizzard's actual operating results in 2025 were well below the long-range plans, demonstrate how prescient the board was in assessing the industry headwinds, how we could negatively impact the value, how they could negatively impact the value of the company. He did say the results were dwindling even under him, but the point is he kind of saw writing on them. He didn't think the future of ABK would be as strong. So it's like, you know, here you go. You're waving around your big dick with all this money. Here, take it. And I almost feel like that with Bethesda a bit as well, because they had Fallout 76, which was, you know, pretty bad. Yeah, they'd been deep. Yeah, they'd been deep into development in Starfield. They probably knew what it wasn't. And you know, it just feels like, yeah, what we're hearing is they haven't really moved on with the times. And now I wonder about the future of their output. You know, will Elder Scrolls be this groundbreaking, you know, massive, insane game?
I guarantee you will have the same bug Starfield did.
I'm dying to
which I don't think is.
That one.
I'm dying to hear the
I don't know if that will cut it today in the same way. I'm not saying it won't be a success. Obviously, it will be a success, but look at Starfield. Like, Starfield was hyped through the moon. 4,000 plus people worked on it. 7-8 year development, huge budget game, you know, and it did okay, but it like nothing substantial, like no crazy sales figures, no, you know, it charted okay in the top 20 for the full year, but it's actually the only Xbox console exclusive that has actually, with sides, I believe, or something in the last decade, which is crazy. But yeah, it was nothing, like not even close to the success of their previous games. And obviously it's a new IP, I get that, but new IPs have done amazing for studios all the time. Look at Elden Ring, look at Last of Us, you know, like there are studios, even Horizons, where people can release a new IP that is still super successful. But yeah, Starfield, I don't know about
Starfield fell flat.
But the difference is, like, Horizon was a polished product on launch, right? Starfield had a variety of issues. It had terrible performance. It was unoptimized. And it was so bad, it didn't even launch with DLSS and FSSR, right? You release your game day one on PC, something you know you're going to do, and people had to make a mod to enable it in the game. People had to come behind and do your job because you half-assed the launch, because you were forced to launch it, because they probably wouldn't give you any more time. And it's like Bethesda does itself absolutely no favors. It's like, I'm already carrying a house. Let me add a skyscraper to the house, and then try to carry on. And it's like, did you need to add the skyscraper?
But what does that mean for Bethesda's future and Xbox?
I don't know what that means.
Because look at the things we're describing, right? We're talking about a multitude of games that have not done very well, sales performance-wise. Obviously, some games that have done really well, for example, Horizon 5 on PS5, but let's just say Ninja Gaiden, the Outer Worlds 2, Avowed, South of Midnight, even Doom, the Dark Ages was significantly below the previous entries in terms of sales. And you've got Bethesda, who's kind of waning, you're saying yourself. Then you've got Call of Duty now, which has gone top dog to 7 in the US. Like, to me, like, I know people always say, "Oh, well, you just hate Microsoft." I'm not. I'm just relaying the data. I feel like sometimes I'm in like bizarro world because I'm like reporting these things, right? And it's almost like people want to put their fingers in their ears, like, nah, everything's great, golden Game Pass, it's the best value in gaming. And it's like, are you not looking at the sea shift in the industry and what Microsoft and Xbox is walking into right now? Because it's one thing to have diminished results when you have 2,000 to 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 employees and developers, right? It's another thing when you have 20,000. Significantly higher operational costs. The risk is like orders of magnitude higher. Higher.
But then again, success doesn't guarantee whether you get a sequel, because Hellblade 2 sold the equivalent of fuck all, and they're getting a third attempt. So I don't know what they're basing stuff on. Like, Hellblade 2 sold the equivalent of a pack of chewing gum and a bottle of Coke, and somehow they're getting a third game.
Like, maybe it's just a graphical showcase, like, for their hardware.
Maybe
it's the fact that I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's the fact that, being honest, it probably cost them nothing to make that game.
I was gonna say it's probably lower cost than you think.
Yeah, it's lower cost, right? Let's say it took $20 million to make that game, right? Microsoft needs a constant supply of game consistently in Game Pass, right? Because that's their thing going forward. Plus, now they're servicing the Nintendo market and the PlayStation market. They need this machine to crank out games. It doesn't matter, and they're gonna go for the cheapest thing. All the expensive shit, State of Decays, and all that. All that's they cut all that stuff. They canceled all that stuff. Now they need stuff they can kind of crank out games every 2 to 3 years. And I think with Hellblade, it's just going to be that. Maybe that's the thinking in it.
Yeah,
but I can't imagine that game costing more than.
But I agree with Mr. No, I'm with you, Jay. Mr. Grimm makes a good point, though. He says if Elder Scrolls 6 is basically another Skyrim, but with better graphics, that's a fail. He says Bethesda needs to improve on their boring cookie cutter formula. And that's Dessinger was saying something similar a moment ago. Like, I'm with you, Jay. I think that it's interesting because we were saying things years ago where we're like, they have to fill this Game Pass void with a lot. And that's why they bought all these studios and this and that. But like you said, I've seen more cuts than I've seen. You know what I mean? So I don't know if they're going to fill it with like third-party older games. But listen, you guys all see what I see on X. You see when they go, this month coming to Game Pass. And like, yeah, sure, you'll get a month like this month. It wasn't bad at all. But you look at past months and you're like, this is like shovelware. This is nothing. They're just putting slop in there most of the time. And it's like, yeah, Xbox is going to have a good game here and there, and that's fine. But it's very sparse and few in between from their own studios as they move forward. Game Pass right now is just full of third-party kind of whatever and older games. And it is what it is. But I do have one other super chat I promised I would read way back from the beginning here. Glinser, he says, what are the panels? No, I already read that one. He came back again. Hold on one second. He wanted to know about remakes. Here it is. If you could get one remake green lit, which game would it be? I already know.
Cold done by an actual good
me. Half-Life 1 and 2, man. Give me Half-Life 1 and 2 next gen.
That's what I thought.
No,
was gonna
don't
say.
give us. We've already had Half-Life. No.
What? Ancient history, bro.
Thing is, we've already had them. They've already been redone. It's like.
No, I mean like a remake. I want a full-on next gen.
Full-on
next gen. Imagine experiencing that initial failed experiment or whatever with the time portal, the aliens come. Imagine seeing that with next gen fucking.
So long as they can keep what makes Half-Life the core mechanics of what Half-Life is, because the thing is, if it's just updating the visuals, I agree. But if you're on about updating gameplay and whatnot, I'm very careful. Because bear in mind,
just a next gen visual overhaul.
It's a good call, but I think there's other games like a bit more deserving. Like a Jade Empire would be that'd be a pretty fascinating. How that's
what about
done.
Chrono Cross? I haven't actually even played that.
What about Chrono Trigger? What about Chrono Trigger?
Chrono.
Come on.
Yeah, Chrono. That's in the, Mr. Grimm's been asking for that. That's what he just asked for.
Oh, I've been asking for that. Do a Chrono Trigger. Give us that. Just that'd be a masterpiece when that drops. Or, for example, like I know people keep saying KOTOR's happening, but I don't see it. And apparently, it's changed studios, and it's like, look, just give it to someone who can actually do a good job.
It is a different studio.
And just get out a good of KOTOR, because if they make a completely good remake of KOTOR, people are gonna be.
I would say KOTOR is mine. I mean, and I know they're doing it, but like you say, sight unseen, right? Unproven. So I don't know. What do you think, Jay?
I'll go for a Killzone 2 remake. Imagine so now they have the graphics and the hardware down, and now they have the storytelling down. If they could just kind of remake that with the crazy visuals and really just flesh it out, man, that'll be freaking bananas.
They've already remastered it, so this isn't quite the same thing. But like, I would like to see but I would want them to expand, not just remake and just like the same game, expand a little bit. Not changing the essence of what the original was, but I would say the original BioShock would be fun to see remade from the ground up now that it's not a 360 game. You know what I mean?
Also, other shout-outs would be Need for Speed Underground 2. Remake of that would be fantastic.
Yes.
Also, another one would be... so I already said Jade Empire. Need for Speed Underground 2. We could have... what was the game? It was big on 360. I'll have to think about it unless people have any others. Like not Killzone. What is it? There was another shooter that I'd love to see redone.
Resistance
would be great.
Probably Resistance. Yes.
People have been asking Insomniac for that forever.
Well, Insomniac's now a slave, unfortunately, to Marvel games, and Ratchet and Clank. And
they're not a slave. They got their buffet, buffet of goatees that's lined up for the next 10 years.
I was just gonna say, interesting choice of words.
Their position, knowing what they're gonna make ahead of time.
Yeah.
But
the thing is that they are now the Marvel studio, right? That's kind of where they
got Ratchet and Clank that they're that
I could see them. I could see them making something too that's like Resistance-esque. You know, I can see them stepping out of that Marvel thing, that Marvel routine.
I don't think so, based on the leak.
Yeah,
we already know their output, so it's going to be according.
Came out all of the Marvel games, and then the Ratchet and Clanks.
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, so Ratchet and Clank, X-Men, Venom, and Spider-Man. That's basically and Wolverine. So
that's pretty Marvel heavy.
That's what I was thinking. What of Tenchu?
Tenchu, nice. Yes, very nice.
We have been so long without Tenchu. Like I have been so long.
I don't know if they'll ever. We've been talking about these types of remakes for almost 11 years on podcasts. They haven't made any of this. We've been talking about this forever.
Nostalgia never works.
No, it's a hell of a drug, though. I'll tell you that much.
And nobody would buy it. Mooch, I do have some breaking news.
What do you got, Jay? I was just going to say.
What was it?
Please.
Which is a great topic we were talking about earlier. According to Moore's Law, he tweeted this about 45 minutes ago.
Okay.
He said he said tonight he's reporting that NVIDIA is effectively ending the supply of its high-end GPUs. He said, in fact, from what he hear, NVIDIA is basically exiting the high-end market.
Oh God, that's why they're charging $5,000 for the 5090.
Yes, because they don't care. Listen. If NVIDIA gets out of the high-end gaming market,
Listen,
and they just focus fully on AI.
My advice for everyone listening:
they're an AI company. They're an AI
just
company.
buy a PS5 Pro or a PS6. Right?
No.
Done.
The thing is, I understand what they're doing because think about it, right? When the 50 series launched, probably 0.2% of people actually bought the 5090, right? Now, how many way more people purchased the 5080 and the 5070 and the 5060. So why would you continue making these 90 cards?
But they're discontinuing your one too.
But yeah. I don't think you're listening. Right, high end. It's not that doesn't mean just the
high end is
high end. The 50 series, the 40 series, and the 30 series. That's
no,
it.
They're
that
not high end. No, that's no.
Those are high end. Those are considered high end. Yes,
they're not. Like for example, the 4070 or the 5070 is not considered a high end card.
No. Listen, okay, hold on. Listen to me. High end cards, right? High end cards. These are the high end gaming cards. They make other cards, right? Like for the business segment and stuff like that do that. Bro, they're gonna actually, the way it's sounding, they're exiting your market of what you like. They're exiting out of that because they're able to take those resources and make more money by selling it to the AI and those manufacturers, and they'll get 1,000,000 times more than what you pay for it or what some a handful of guys paying for a 5090 or a 5060 or even a 30 series. It just makes sense. They're gonna take that memory and all the GPUs and all that stuff for a handful of people who are going to buy this stuff, or will they get in while the getting's good, right? Because they can always revert back if once the AI bubble crashed. They can always say, okay, we're going to start back servicing the consumer, the high end gaming consumer market. Right now, they'll be like, listen, I'll leave that shit to AMD. Who cares? We're going to make 1,000,000 times more money off of this AI bubble, selling it to China and all these different territories, Tesla and everybody else. That is what it sounds like, and they're not the only ones that's doing it.
All he said, he didn't say they're stopping GPUs at all. They're just stopping the high end. Now, the high end is the 5090s and the 4090s. Like you have to. That's the high end. Mid range is like the 5070. The low range is the 60.
I'm on Nvidia's website. I think they consider high end from 5070 upwards.
Yes. Yeah.
Even though 5070 is a mid-range card, well, I guess so. 5070 is a mid-range card, though. I don't know what they. But okay, sure, Nvidia. Say what you will.
It's the middle of the lineup, but that's a high end.
It does say 5070 Ti, so maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, but the TIs are always way more important. So what I think is they're no longer
saying 5070 Ti, 5080, and 50.
So in that case, they're probably not making any more TIs, any more supers, and they're not going to release the.
That's why I asked the question I asked you earlier, Dessinger, when I said, "Do you think this?" I said, "Do you think the 60 series are delayed or canceled indefinitely?" You said, "No, they'll probably just come out regular time."
I think there'll be a 6080, a 6070, and a 6060, and that's it. That's all you get. Those three, and that's the end of the story.
Eric, the producer, just sent it to me. Moore's Law is dead. Yeah, tonight.
Yeah.
This is more. He said tonight. I back up at Hardware Unboxed, reporting that Nvidia is effectively ending supply of most of its high-end GPUs. In fact, he said most. Yeah. In fact, from what I hear, Nvidia is basically exiting the high end through 2026, including laptops.
Yep.
Damn.
Including laptops. They're taking their resources that they have. They're going to hold them near and dear. And they're going to capitalize and make more money than they ever. Think about it. The fact that it was like a month ago, the 5090 was $2,500, and then all of a sudden, within a week, it went up to $5,000. And you don't think those guys were, and who's going to buy that $5,000?
I don't know.
Nobody. They'll take those resources and sell it to some AI, whatever, and make way more money.
And this is why I think AMD now with FSR being the way it is, and of course they already released a lot of the tech, like the Illuminations stuff that they said is coming for the PlayStation. That's already released on PC, with the latest updates to Redstone, which is what they're calling it now, Redstone.
Yeah.
So obviously they were already capitalizing, and I expect AMD to further capitalize because they always used to be the cheaper option. They were always better in rasterization, but they always lost out when it came to ray tracing. So if Nvidia decide to give it up, they go for the AI bubble. If the AI bubble cracks, they come back. AMD's eaten their lunch by then, and then Intel's coming in. And I think they're going to run into an issue where AMD, if they can get their ray tracing solution on par with what NVIDIA's got, then you are just going to take AMD, because AMD already makes the best CPUs. So if they can make
That's
the best GPUs, then you just go all AMD setup and call it a day. The only reason people chose NVIDIA was because DLSS was better than FSR, and if you wanted to use ray tracing, it was superior. Now, if you turned off ray tracing, AMD was the better value and better performance. So I think NVIDIA, they're throwing all their chips in the AI bucket, and they got to see if it works out for them.
But to be fair, if it's anybody that's going to do it, it's going to be them. They're the world's richest company. They could afford to do it, right?
Oh God, yeah.
They're trillions. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. They're like $5 trillion. So if you got that, you'll risk it, and then guess what? Push comes to shove, 3 years, 2-3 years from now,
that's
everything goes back.
And
everyone just revert back, and the loyalists will come back.
Everybody loves a comeback story. Everyone loves a comeback story.
I actually, before I got the 5070 Ti, I was considering getting the AMD equivalent, right? Because I was like, I don't use the ray tracing anyway, and FSR is now getting up to par with DLSS. So it's now a realistic consideration for me. So
you're a free agent now.
So the next time I have to upgrade, I'm probably, because I already have an AMD CPU. I'm just going to go AMD GPU the next time I have to upgrade, and just go AMD across the board, because I know FSR will be as good as DLSS. So and I don't have to worry about the ray tracing differential. So of course my loyalty will change, because AMD is now on par. What stopped me from going to AMD was FSR wasn't as good as DLSS. So I don't. This is. I'm not gonna lie, man. This is spooky times.
It is crazy.
Hopefully, right? And I pray. We all need to pray that AMD didn't get that itch and decide to follow suit.
If that happens, we're trouble.
We're screwed. Like,
well, AMD does all your consoles,
right?
So you better.
No, but I don't think they would. I think it would only affect the PC side. I don't think they're going to turn away 150 million orders on the PlayStation side. They might turn away 20 million, 10 million on the consumer PC side. But I don't think it will affect PlayStation in the same way.
The thing is, it's hundreds of millions GPUs. Like, bear in mind, there's billions of gaming PCs. Like, the GPU market is so heavily flooded. But AMD,
I'm talking in terms of new releases, though.
Oh yeah, but AMD is all in on gaming, because they're kind of forced to, because they have the consoles to look after. So they're always they've got their foot in gaming. Whereas Nvidia, all Nvidia does is the Switch, right? So Nvidia could just release their crappy little laptop APUs and give them to the Switch, because the Switch is never going to require anything big off Nvidia, so they could just throw them their second-hand chips that they would throw in the trash. Instead, let's give it to Nintendo. And so I think Nvidia has no ties like AMD does.
Well, I'll tell you, Jay, you're right. We are in some crazy times right now, and what's going to happen and what's going to conspire from this is going to be unbelievable. I mean, that's the thing is they know it's low risk on their side. I mean, they are well aware that they're going to make out on this AI stuff. Everyone's buying in. Like you said, every government across the world is buying in on getting the top. They want to be the top and the first and the best in AI. And if that's what they're going to dedicate those GPUs to, guess what? They're going to buy them. So they know this low risk. They're going to make a fortune, an absolute fortune.
The thing is, it's like, if the AI bubble pops, oh man, there's gonna be so many sad people.
You know what? Don't get me wrong. We've talked about things like bubbles popping and things of that nature. This isn't real estate. You know what I mean? This isn't a fling. This is future technology. Yeah. This is medicine. This is everything. I mean, it's everything. So
look at Microsoft. Look what they're doing.
Yeah,
they're like full blown, like
yes.
betting the whole
Satya
house on it.
Satya was doing FTC trials. Now he's like, "What's Xbox?"
I mean, to be honest, half the people at Xbox will get replaced with AI anyway. AI artists, AI to do.
I didn't even mean.
People.
Yeah, I didn't even mean that.
Game developers.
I didn't mean that.
Game developers are already exploring AI to make quests and NPCs. And AI.
No, yeah, you're absolutely. I just mean Microsoft is now like they've turned the page to the point to where they're going AI focused, and outside
and
of
games will follow suit and watch.
That's true. Outside of Windows, though, that's going to be their primary. Right now, Windows is paying for the lights to be on.
Well, Azure is.
Well, Azure, yeah, good point.
Yeah, their cloud is the biggest chunk of their revenue, but
Let me do this, guys. It's 11 o'clock almost here in New York. We've gone 4 hours. This is what happens when Nib and Deathsinger team up, guys. We should probably do a CrossFire every New Year's Eve. We could take it right to the ball dropping. I want to say thanks to everybody, man. Outstanding panel, outstanding chat, lots of chat tonight, which I loved. You guys were really a part of the show. Thanks, guys, for the super chats. You guys are all fantastic. You're amazing. We're going to be back next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Guys, we are going to be streaming over on twitch.tv on Saturday from 11 to about 4 or 11 to 5. And then again Monday. But go over and check us out over there. A lot of you guys have been slowly coming over and filtering over. It's the same thing as here, M00CHTV. Drop the O's for zeros over on Twitch, same as YouTube, same as on X. But let me go in reverse order and say shout out to the great Deathsinger for joining us tonight. Deathsinger, I know you had a little bit of something coming up, and you're like, I'll be a little late, but you were here. And even though you were late, you still got 3 hours in. So it's not like you really didn't podcast. You podcast. Most podcasts are 2 hours. We go 4. So you got a full show in here. Deathsinger, great to have you as always. The audience absolutely loves you. You know that. So let them know where they can find you, buddy. And I anticipate next week's show already.
I mean, you can find me playing the games that you don't play, typically. Those neat games, it's like, for example, if I'm super hyped for the Legend of Heroes game coming out this month, I guarantee you half the people are like, what the fuck is Legend of Heroes? And the other half is like, no one wants to play that garbage. And it's perfectly fine. Everyone has their tastes. And, I just enjoy anything RPG related. So, you can find me playing RPGs. You can find me playing my League of Legends. Yeah, come at me. I play at 1080p, 700 FPS. Get on my level. Do I need 700 FPS? No. Do I like seeing it on my screen when I look up at the counter and it's going 800 FPS? Yes, it's enjoyable. It just fills me with happiness when I see 800 FPS. But yeah, great show.
I don't think he actually does these things for the actual experience. He just does it for the bragging rights, basically. Yeah. It's the ego thing.
Right. It really is.
He's like...
It's a podcast.
Like, I may not be very well in.
It's a podcast flex. He loves it, Nib. Speaking of the great Nib, everybody, Nib, you're out there you're literally like the Walter Cronkite of the video game industry, buddy. You are outstanding. There's nobody. That's why if somebody in the chat goes, "Where did he get that source from?" I said, "Well, let me just ask him because Nib's got a source." Don't ever come at Nib and think he's just spitballing.
Someone said to me, 4 gigabyte, lol. And then I just tweeted the thing directly from them, saying 3 gigabytes graphics, and obviously the rest was over. So,
I love it. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to go ahead and take a second and plug Nib, because honestly, you guys have to understand something. If you're not following Nib, I don't really know what the hell you're doing on X. That's the thing I got to ask you guys. I don't know how that's even possible. So here he is. Guys, go over, literally, I'm not kidding you, at Nib95_. Go over and follow him.
I would say, just to caution, don't follow me if you don't want to read, okay? Because I put a lot of lengthy fucking scrolls, right? We're talking like, so only come to and follow me if you want actual detailed information and context. If you don't like reading, stick to your TikTok and your fucking, your YouTubers.
YouTube shorts.
That's not me, all right? So So if you just want brain-numbing, quick bite, soundbite stuff, that's not me. So I'm just putting that out there.
Nib, that was fantastic. Jay, I'll go to you on this outro, but that was fantastic. I've never heard anybody say, if you don't like to read, don't follow me. That is probably one of the best.
Keeping it honest.
No, you're honest and you're not wrong. I'm telling you right now, all of Nib's tweets literally come with a scroll bar. So just be prepared, folks. Okay, this is not going to be a 200 character count. The great J-Dub City was with us. Jay, listen, not only did I have a great time podcasting you as I always do, looking forward to this weekend, catching up, playing some video games. But let people know where they can find you, buddy. And thanks for being here tonight with us.
Absolutely, man. It's always a honor and a joy to talk gaming with you guys.
Yes, sir.
And you guys can find me on Twitter. You trust me. You don't even have to find me. I'll find you.
I'll find
one
you.
Of my tweets, somebody screaming and yelling about
I'll find you.
Wherever some chaos is I'm somewhere in there. Just poking fun, just having fun.
Jay,
it was a great show.
That was a great
Mooch,
show.
You should plug yourself because you like talking in the third person.
I do. Yeah, guys, if you like Mooch, like I love Mooch, go over and check him out at M00CHTV.
Hey, Mooch,
what's that?
I'm going to be fair. To be fair, Death Singer is definitely that kind of guy that we're talking.
Yes, he is.
You will play those games. Death Singer is definitely a champion of League of Legends,
Yes.
And hey, everyone should talk in third person.
I think talking in third person to your audience is fantastic. It makes it sound like you're narrating your life. It's fantastic. You know what I mean?
I think we should do that for an entire podcast.
We can do that. Imagine that. You're like,
Mooch really enjoyed Ghost of Your Day.
Mooch really enjoyed Ghost of Your Day. He told me himself. I mean, it's fantastic. It was funny, Jay, when Jay goes, well, I'll find you. All I could think of was Zigzag's super chat from earlier when he said, could you ask Jay, how does he live with himself? Yo, shout out to Zigzag again, man. That was fantastic.
By the way, someone said in the comments that it's the Xbox show next week, so that'll be a good.
That's right.
Ooh,
that is correct.
I get to finally see Fable.
Yep, the show will air a few hours before we go live, guys. So you'll really get some hot takes right after the show. It'll be nice because a lot of people do live shows. We do live shows for things like E3 and when we used to do things like that, or if there's an Xbox Direct, I get that. But this here, you just want to watch it, let's digest it, and then let's break it down. So next week, we will have a lot to break down. I would encourage the great Death Singer, Nib, Jay, you're always welcome to join us if you'd like to. If you're going to be on the show next week, please do, guys. Try to check out the highlights for that because that would be a big talking point.
I'm going to be watching it live.
Okay, great.
I want to see my baby Fable. I want to see.
I'm going to be honest with you, Mooch. I'm getting getting a tingle in my toes for the first time in a long time about Xbox. Like, I'm so hyped for this, and this particular slate, I'm really looking forward to Fable. Don't know if you know.
I know you're a fan of Fable.
Yeah, Fable, and then Gears E-Day. I feel like it could be going back to what made Gears great. I know every time Xbox says that or we say that. But going back to Marcus and just the horror vibes, what I've heard, like in all the commentary and stuff and reporting, it sounds like they're finally like doing what it is. So and then Halo Combat Evolved is my favorite campaign evolved remake of that.
Yes.
It's looking real fucking good for me. Like for the first time in a long time, I'm like super, super excited.
It really does, and I got to say, you're 100% right on that. Although this show is going to focus on Forza, Fable. Something in reincarnation, Beast of Reincarnation, or something of those. And then there's supposed to be
That's
a fourth.
From the Game Freak people, from the Pokemon people, which might be interesting. But also, hopefully, they keep the whole. I hate to say it, the STD mechanic in Fable, because I remember clocking up 60 or 70. I think it was the highest count I got. Because you could be the serial. I'm just gonna bicycle. So
and then there's a fourth game.
Hopefully they keep that mechanic in there. Because if they take it out, I'll be a bit disappointed. Because that was always fun. Just comparing with your friends how many you got.
True. Then we have a fourth game, which nobody knows what it is yet, but Shinobi says he wasn't too excited for it, but we'll see what it could be. Maybe
Fallout remake. I'm calling it now. Fallout New Vegas or Fallout 3 remake.
If it's either of those, I will be excited. So that's got me excited. Now you made my day with that Death Singer. Also, Death Singer and Nib are now 57-0 on making a podcast go 25 minutes after an outro. That is an outstanding record in all podcasting. You guys don't realize that, but Guinness World Records is called twice to get us in the books. I will say this, guys. We'll see you guys next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Until then, hit the like button on the way out. Still 133 people. If you didn't do it, that's a lot more likes we could get. Let's get Mooch up there. Let's get some more. More likes means more algorithm, which means more everything, more greatness. We'll see you next Thursday after the Xbox Direct, Developer Direct. Peace out. Good night. Go play some games.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Have a good one.